Alrighty. Hello everyone, my name is Caden, and welcome to Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. So, I made a poll regarding what game to play on Twitch after Chained Echoes, and this was one of the games I put up, and it was the one that won. To my knowledge, this game is kind of a, to my knowledge, this game is basically, how do I phrase this? Ace Attorney with magic? But there's a specific word. It's not like successor or something, but I'm not able to formulate words. But anyways, point is, I always like games like Ace Attorney and murder mysteries and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I kind of just found this game on a whim too. I think I don't even know if I heard of it from somebody, but I just remember seeing it at some point on Steam, and it was just like, it looks like it'd be fun. So, let's discover it together, shall we? New game. Case 1, The Cold-Hearted Aristocrat. You're about to start The Cold-Hearted Aristocrat. Let's begin. I have zero idea of what to expect otherwise. In the kingdom of Wyvengard, there was a gulf between what was lawful and what was just. Artificery ran in the house of the aristocrats. Disease and vermin ran through the homes of the common folk. People suffered, people died, all so the mages of the nobility could keep their plates full and their lives comfortable. Nevertheless, they still wanted us to have the illusion of hope. They challenged us to win, leaving out the fact they were the ones setting the rules. Many just threw up their hands, and no one could blame them. You could never lose if you never played.
Ugh. I was transporting my clients in my carriage that evening.
Occupation servant, age 34, arcane art none. I notice we have these items in the bottom. Evidence. We don't have any. We have clues, spells, and people. Tyrion Cuthbert, defense attorney 20, no arcane art. A practicing defense attorney and the best chess player in all of Wyvengard. Menus. Oh, this kind of menu. I guess we can go ahead and just save game. We literally just started, but view dialogue history, text log. Okay.
We were driving by the McCoy Tavern when we heard a disturbance. Worried that something was amiss, I walked into the establishment to see what the commotion was about. That was when I saw the defendant, lit by the blue glow of the dining room lights. She had stabbed Flintheart, and her sword was shining with magical energy.
Objection!
No! Mr. Rudolph, you testified that you saw my client murdering the victim, and you supposedly saw her casting magic while doing so.
Yes, I could never forget it. It was burned into my memory.
I see. It's funny you say that.
What?
Because your entire testimony was a complete lie.
What?
What are you trying to imply, Mr. Cuthbert? Arya Steelwind? Evocation arcane art. Steelwind, think about the state of the crime scene. The witness couldn't have seen anything, much less a homicide. Maybe the rules and institutions were impossible. Maybe I was just a grain of sand trying to stand against an ocean. I would never stop rising, no matter how many times they tried to drown me. I would do it again and again if it meant I could give hope to even one person. That was why I fought. Case 1, The Cold-Hearted Aristocrat. Alright, let's see what we got. Sweat was soaking through my suit. The air of the countryside was choking me. I fumbled with the leather reins, tugging at them tightly.
Where did this idiot learn how to drive?
Animals were funny like that. You never know it, but they were constantly making their objections known. I caught many complaints like that through my eye of Horus. Cuthbert, keep that carriage steady. Ruby Tymora, an attorney, age 46, my mentor and legal guardian. She raised me after my mother was killed and taught me everything I know about being an attorney. Hello. Yes, Miss Tymora. My mentor barely looked up from her runestone. She was staring at some magical projections, probably some court files from a case she was working on. I stared longer than I should have. I just passed the legal certification exam, which only meant that a runestone of my own was coming my way. I just had to prove myself, and this trip was the perfect opportunity. Do we have anything Nope. Just that. Dissidence was brewing in the countryside, and we were on our way to meet with one of the voices of the revolution. The village we were driving to was nearly at the edge of the eastern border, far from the capital city in the kingdom's center. Here we ran the risk of running into the military forces deployed to silence voices like his. Whoever this Flynnhart McCoy was, Miss Timora's business with him must have been worth all the trouble. Miss Timora, maybe you should switch with me. And what would you do then if I did that? Maybe I was worried about nothing. Practical experience was always a key part of learning whenever she was involved. Why else would she quietly sit there immersed in her court files? Whoa, hello. Did that rock just scream out in pain? That was a child. I grabbed the reins and pulled them with everything I had. The horse is slowed to a stop. The child was lying face down in the dirt. A puddle of red was pooling under her. The Skilled Lord. I wasn't sure what to do. I wish I never procrastinated reading the first aid books. I looked at my mentor. She approached the scene quietly and slowly. Her eyes went to the child, then to the surrounding forest. She seemed to be searching for something. What are you looking for? She was wearing the same expression she used when inspecting a crime scene. Why would a kid be out in the middle of nowhere? Miss Timora? I say we keep driving and never speak of this again. What? Miss Timora, she's just a child.
Oh, pain. I can see the light.
What the? Ooh, what is this? So we have 4 different emotions. Where the hell is he? And that was his cue. I caught a puzzling thought through my Eye of Horus. Oh. Interesting. Late to his cue, a man clad in plate armor leaped out of some nearby bushes and stumbled toward us. He planted his feet firmly on the ground in front of us, puffing out his chest.
By the Skilled Lord, look what you've done!
The Skilled Lord? I think I can see him. My family, who all died of the plague in 589, they're also there.
Her lines were historically accurate. Damn it, Alma, mentioning that plague is overkill. Interesting. So, it seems like we have an item that lets us kind of read thoughts or something. Interesting. And the plague?
This poor child, she's dead because of you! This is a serious crime. The fine is 20 gold pieces.
Look at that carriage. They're probably aristocrats visiting House Pierce. Oh, I see what's going on. They're trying to scam us, aren't they? 20 gold pieces. The average sentence for vehicular manslaughter was 2 years of imprisonment. Interesting. Vehicular manslaughter. In the Kingdom of Wyverngard, the average sentence for vehicular manslaughter is 2 years of imprisonment. There is no fine.
I have no choice but to arrest you unless you can pay this fine.
There's no fine, though. Oh, that's what this is. It's just a scam. I side-eyed the child, apparently named Alma. I spotted tiny tomato seeds in her pool of blood. Oh, I see. You might want to call someone to retrieve Alma's body, then. Her eyes opened, and her head whipped up to look at me. We locked eyes for a second before her head fell back to the ground. I looked at my mentor again, but she just leaned her head and gestured toward the 2 con artists. It appeared that I was being given another learning opportunity. I couldn't complain, though. I didn't appreciate being treated like an easy mark. Oh! Argument. You start an argument. Defeat your opponent by lowering their confidence. Picking the correct statements will do damage to your opponent. However, picking the wrong options will do damage to your confidence. Use context and clues to determine which option to pick.
Anyways, what will it be?
You'll be taken to the barracks.
Will you pay your fine, or do we need to take this out to out at the barracks?
During arguments, you will sometimes be asked to pick one from 3 possible dialogue responses. The correct dialogue will depend on the context of your opponent's claim and their psychological profile. Okay. We have 3 options. We can either... So you'll be taken to the barracks. Call, certainly. Why don't you bring us back to your barracks? Comply. Okay, I guess we can spare that much gold. Or negotiate. This was obviously just an accident. Can't you overlook this? I'm calling your bluff. Certainly. Why don't you bring us back to your barracks? Why don't you bring us back?
What?
but it is strange that you bring us to your barracks instead of the dungeon.
Oh,
You'll also probably want to call your unit to escort us. After all, it'd be dangerous for one knight to transport 2 criminals by himself.
shut up! Don't think you can talk your way out of this!
Pay the fine for your crimes.
Are you seriously gonna make me take you in? Just pay the damn fine!
During arguments, you'll sometimes be asked to present pieces of evidence in response to a claim. Look at your opponent's claim carefully and present the item that contradicts it. He always hated magic. There's no reason for it. Pay the fine for your crimes. About that, there is none. Except a crime like this wouldn't involve a fine at all.
What?
Vehicular manslaughter has an average sentence of 2 years of imprisonment. With the death of a child, though, I can see the Crown pushing for more than that.
Who the hell are you?
I'm a defense attorney. I can recite every one of the kingdom's laws back to you. The knight looked nervously between Miss Timora and me.
That's it!
His hand shot to the rusty sword hanging from his side. He fumbled with it for a bit before pulling it out and waving it at us. I took a step back. My mentor put herself in front of me. I'll use violence if I have to.
Enough talk! Give us the gold and I won't hurt either of you!
He's afraid. Come on, give up. I can't move that well in this fake armor. Oh! During arguments, your Eye of Horus will show your opponent's thoughts and emotions after they make a claim. Compare your opponent's thoughts to the claim to pick the correct option. I can't move that well in this fake armor. Use when the opponent's thought contradicts the evidence. So logic is use the opponent's thought. When the opponent's thought contradicts the evidence. So if the so it would be if the yellow text here contradicted a piece of evidence we had. Intuition, use when the opponent's thought contradicts their claim. Okay. So if the yellow text contradicts the white text. And empathy, use when your opponent's emotions contradict their claim. Okay. So that would be the symbol. Oh. I don't think you're going to be using it. I stared at his play armor. On closer look, that seemed to be varnished wood, painted to give off a metallic sheen. Whoops. I reached past the sword and knocked on his breastplate. It let out a hollow thunk instead of a resonant clang. I didn't know the kingdom was coming back. Will this even protect you in a fight?
Are you threatening me?
With litigation, perhaps.
I have a sword!
You won't use it. Look, let's just cut the charade. It's not happening. Argument 1. That's cool. Successfully win an argument, shrewd. Alma rose from the dead and began wiping the rotten, crushed tomatoes off her shirt.
Sorry, I thought that stuff about the plague would help.
Sad and worried, or I think is what that means. Tired of eating porridge.
Don't worry about it. It's still morning. Someone else will come by.
There wasn't empty for days. What if they're the only ones?
The Kingdom of Wyverngard, established 613 years ago by the 7th and High Archmages, ruled by King Olivier and the mages of his nobility. They'll often preach that our large kingdom was a land of prosperity and happiness, a nation where its people shared the wealth and succor created by its magic. Here. I took out a neatly wrapped sandwich from my satchel and held it out to Alma.
What?
You'll probably find this more filling than porridge. The man narrowed his eyes, appraising me like the knight he'd been impersonating. He snatched a wrapped sandwich from me, peeling back the bread to inspect its contents. His mouth salivated as he caught a whiff of the sliced deli meat. No poison to be found, apparently. He handed it to Alma, who eagerly began munching down on it. I was probably the first person to share any wealth or succor with them in a long time.
Just tell me one thing. What gave it away?
What do you mean?
I spent a while sanding this armor down. I had to go through 3 attempts just to get it perfectly smooth. I even mixed the paint myself. It's got the sheen and everything. How'd you know it was fake?
I thought to myself for a while. You clearly went for woad, matter, and weld for your paint. I'm also guessing you used a touch of gall ink for the shadows? They're decent choices if you're trying to paint a shield, but they're useless if you're trying to mimic the complex nooks and edges of plate armor. He just blinked at me.
Seriously?
Plate doesn't tint that way. Real plate catches the ambient light in cold tones. Your mix was a little too warm. He shook his head, wide-eyed.
Cuthbert, was that stuff about the paint really true?
No, I just read it from his mind. Did you see the look on his face? I can't understand why my mom enjoyed fortune-telling so much. She said nothing in response. Her eyes were locked on my satchel, now 1 meal short. I'll be fine. They've probably skipped a lot more meals than I have.
In case you've forgotten, they were trying to scam us.
If they really wanted to hurt anyone, they'd throw away that fake armor and just use a sword. We should be helping our fellow commoners, right? Isn't that why we practice law?
Just don't expect me to share my lunch with you. I spent a good 15 minutes haggling for those sandwiches.
Do we even need to haggle?
It's a matter of principle. You give anyone an inch and they'll take a mile.
Fair enough. We arrived at Cornhaven, but I smelled the stench before I even spotted the village. The smell of rotting meat and excrement hung in the air. I had to fight the urge to retch. But I did my best to swallow my disgust. I've been begging Miss Tymora to take me on her outings for years. I couldn't show weakness now.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I was just surprised.
Do you expect the ruling lord to install modern plumbing in a village like this?
I guess I never really thought about it.
You'll get used to it once you travel more. This is just how things are in the outer regions.
It really made me appreciate the clean and sanitary streets of the capital. There, the streets and homes were loaded with our artificery. We had clean and running water, we had lights that didn't rely on oil and flame. It was as if this village existed in a different time period. I reprimand myself. I wasn't above this. The people here were commoners, just like me. They only lived like this out of a lack of care from the kingdom.
Take a left here. The tavern should be at the edge of town.
This is cool so far.
If the reports are right, that should be the place.
Is this really a meeting place for dissidents against the crown? Flintheart had done an amazing job of disguising their headquarters as a rundown shack.
The tavern's been shut down for years now. Nowadays, Flintheart McCoy just uses it to host his rallies.
Hey, you lot! The McCoy Tavern is closed!
The dissident leader stormed towards our carriage as we parked. Hello there. He had a roughness to him that matched the state of his tavern. He was practically growling at us with every word. He got close to Miss Tymora's face, his feet firmly planted on the ground. She was unflinching, of course, standing her ground as he leered at the two of us.
I take it you're Flintheart McCoy.
What's it to you?
Flintheart McCoy, unemployed, age 52, leader of a revolutionary faction in Cornhaven and owner of the McCoy Tavern. He seems to have an extreme grudge against mages and nobility, but that sentiment tends to be common nowadays.
Sorry for not writing ahead of time, but my messages weren't getting through. I'm Ruby Tymora. I've been trying to get in touch with you, Flintheart.
What?
His eyes narrowed for a bit before widening in recognition of the name.
Wait, Ruby Tymora? Why didn't you say so? Come on in!
His tone flipped to jovial in an instant. Now as if he were greeting an old friend. I was surprised people out here even knew who she was. I'd have thought her infamy had to only spread in the city. I guess he acknowledged her as an ally. They both had a common enemy, after all. The crown.
Excuse the mess. We haven't exactly seen a lot of guests.
That's fine.
My mentor looked around warily as she brushed aside a spiderweb hanging in front of her.
So, what brings you here? I doubt someone like you has seen anything out here.
One of my clients has been trying to talk to you. We have a proposition that you'll be interested in.
I raised my eyebrow at her. This was the first time I'd heard of this client.
Is there anywhere we could talk in private?
I got a bunch of empty rooms upstairs.
Perfect. Cuthbert, stay here for a moment.
Don't you need my help?
There's no need for that.
How's there no need? The Eye of Horus could extract anything she needed from him. Whoops. That glare overruled my objection before don't look at me either way. Without another word, she went up the stairs. I drummed my hands on the dusty table, looking around the tavern. It definitely had a lot of personality, if one counted dust and insects as character traits. Faint murmurs echoed from the ceiling, slightly distressed. It sounded like their conversation was becoming more frustrated. I brought out a small chessboard from my satchel. Even after a decade, it had served me well. Chess could be played with one person, something that I'd always taken advantage of. Really? I had a match with the Duke of Commerce scheduled in a few months. I wasn't too worried about him, but I might as well take this opportunity. Checkmate. I lost again while playing as white. That was 3 times now.
Oh, hello.
Hi there. Statistically, white was more likely to win, so why was I performing better as black? Was I becoming overconfident as white because it had an advantage?
Hello?
That very advantage could be affecting my choices and making me play suboptimally. If a personal quirk was making me play like this, then I need to identify and correct it.
Hey!
I nearly topped out of my seat when she tapped me on the shoulder. She stepped back and flashed me a soft grin. Her body swayed playfully, amused by how flustered I was. Hello! Her posture was unguarded. It was as if she never felt threatened in her life. She was holding a large exotic sword in her right hand, but I barely even noticed it. As her warm and bright aura washed over me, it pulled away any tension and unease I might have felt. Sorry, I was distracted.
You know the Koi Tavern is closed, right? But if you're okay with keeping things off the books, I can prepare a room for you.
Record streaming. No, that's fine. I'm just waiting for my mentor to finish speaking with Flintheart.
Oh, someone's talking to my dad.
Oh, your dad.
I'm Flintheart's daughter, Celeste.
Celeste McCoy? A mercenary. Interesting. The only daughter of Flintheart McCoy. She's cheerful and sweet, and also a little intimidating. I'm Tyrion. Nice to meet you.
Do you know when they'll be done? I wanted to show him something.
The mumbling upstairs was becoming more frustrated. Celeste tilted her head as she looked at the ceiling, but soon she got distracted by my chessboard.
Wait, the game is chess, isn't it? Are you playing against someone?
Oh, I was playing by myself, actually.
Oh,
Playing alone helps me hone my strategies. Plenty of professionals do it.
hey, don't worry about it. I'm not trying to shame a man for playing with himself.
Her arcane art is transmutation? She just chuckled she'd drink my reaction. I looked away from her before clearing my throat. Have you ever played it before?
I read about it on some books a while ago. This room is always so dusty.
Buying herself, she sat down in the chair opposite mine. She brushed off some dust from the table with her sleeve and began setting up her side of the board.
Where's the horse go again?
Oh dear. Checkmate. It only took 2 moves. She'd fallen into a classic trap. I feel a little guilty, but my mentor always said that failure was the best teacher.
Wait, what? Already? How'd you do that?
I decided against telling her the name of that mate. She just grumbled under her breath as we both moved our pieces back into place.
So what kind of business does your mentor have with my dad?
I'm honestly not sure. She doesn't really tell me much. I think it has something to do with his dissidence against the crown. Sorry, should I not be saying that out loud?
It's fine.
She shrugged her chin as her hand moved and hesitated over each of her pieces. She hadn't realized that she'd been led into an art trap.
Here!
She moved her knight into position to attack my queen. She blocked my initial assault on her king, but... Checkmate. A scholar's mate this time.
What? How do you keep doing that?
The more you play, the more you'll be able to recognize specific boards. You'll get the hang of it in time. She just glared at the board. I glanced at the ceiling. Miss Timora and Flintheart's argument was only getting worse. It didn't sound like they would be done anytime soon.
I figured out what the problem is.
Is that you keep mobilizing your pieces without intention?
It's food, Tyrion. I need food.
She stood up and stomped toward the kitchen, but not before spinning around back to me.
We're not done. Don't you dare leave.
I wasn't going anywhere. A few minutes later, she returned carrying a gigantic slab of cooked meat on a small plate. I stared at it for a while, wondering if she was planning to eat all of that in one sitting. She began setting up her side of the board with one hand while holding a fork and knife in the other. She was somehow twirling both utensils in her right hand to switch between them. She delicately carved a small bit of meat with the knife before spinning to a fork to bring it to her mouth. She tilted her head at me and swallowed the bite whole.
Hey, it's your move.
Right. She's gonna beat me now, ain't she? For someone who had never played before, she was quickly improving with each game. It took me a while before I even noticed, but she was adapting to my strategies and trying to use them against me. She caught me unaware a few times. At the rate she was learning, she could easily surpass a nationally ranked noble with enough practice. Checkmate. But I've been playing this game for far longer than she had, and I was ranked far above the average noble. She just narrowed her eyes at me.
How are you always one step ahead of me? It's like you're reading my mind.
I could, but I never allowed myself to when playing.
I'll get you this time.
She began placing the pieces back in place when my stomach groaned loudly. Hunger. Sleaze blinked at me, startled for a moment, and then giggled. Excuse me.
Have you eaten anything?
No.
Oh,
She looked around for a moment before her eyes went to her slab of mystery meat.
do you want some of this? We have a lot.
No, I couldn't possibly. My stomach reprimanded me with an loud grumble. Okay, fine. Against my protest, she spun the knife in her hand and carved a bite of meat. She started to playfully wave the fork in front of my face expectantly. Do you have another fork?
Come on, don't be like that.
I wanted to object, but I was too hungry to argue. I just bit down the fork. That's when I felt quite the jarring texture. The meat was tough and fibrous. I had to continuously chew through the leathery sinew, lest I choke on it. I never tasted such a distinct, greasy tang before. I realized that I never actually asked her where this meat came from. How is she eating this so quickly?
How is it?
Well, it's certainly unique.
Yeah, bear meat is kind of weird like that.
Bear? Oh, okay. As I questioned every decision that had led me to this point, Miss Timora and Flintheart came down from upstairs. My mentor's face was stoic as always, but some frustration bled through. That was never a good sign.
Hi, Dad.
Oh, hello, sweetie.
Flintheart's expression lit up as his daughter rushed over to him. My mentor glanced at the chessboard on the table. She never really took an interest in chess, but she knew that I'd been undefeated since I was 10 years old. Don't feel too bad about losing to him. He's nationally ranked.
What? You never told me that. I can't believe you explained newbie.
If only.
Is that what your suit's for? Are you some kind of traveling chess player?
No, chess is just a hobby. I'm a defense attorney.
I didn't even know we had attorneys in Wyvern Guard.
They were definitely a dying breed. The competent ones, anyway. Speaking of, we should probably get going.
Hi, I hate to refuse you after you came all this way. I respect what you're doing, but I won't work with these mages of yours.
No. Mages? Interesting. Sad and scared, it seems, almost. Miss Timora had mentioned that before. Was this mystery client a mage?
Anyway, it's getting late. If you leave now, you probably won't get to see until morning.
She's right. These parts are crawling with brigands and conmen. You wouldn't want to run into one of them after nightfall.
I guess you have a point.
The tavern has plenty of empty rooms. Why don't you stay here till morning? It's the least I can do after you came all this way.
Fine, I'm not exactly in a rush to get back on that carriage.
Sweetie, can you help me with the...
He paused, his eyes focusing on the giant slab of meat on the table.
Did you kill another bear? We barely got through the last one. What are we supposed to do with all this greasy meat?
Eat it. That's what it's for.
Bruh.
How are you even killing these things?
It's not that hard. You have to keep up with them.
For Lord's sake, you're bloody insane. Why did the Scaled Lord curse me with a rabid wolf instead of a daughter?
This rabid wolf is keeping your family fed. Do you know how many commoners in Wyvern Guard are starving?
Don't talk to me like I'm the child.
The two continued their bickering as they went up the staircase. Interesting.
How do you expect to find a good husband while you're out in the woods wrestling bears?
Excuse me, men are lining up to court me. I am a goddess.
A goddess of war, more like. You're always coming home covered in blood and dirt.
Well then. So, your talk with Flintheart didn't go well? Why can't he understand that all of this is bigger than him and his vendetta? I still have one last thing we could use. Cuthbert. So let's get that back downstairs, pausing upon seeing the air between my mentor and me.
Oh, we're done with your rooms. You can head upstairs if you want to rest up.
Right.
Thank
Thank you, Celeste. Silence followed us up the stairs until we arrived at our rooms. Miss Tamar's hand gripped the handle of the door, but she never turned it. I'm sorry. I didn't expect our discussion to go on for that long. It's fine. I understand. I saw you playing chess with Flintheart's daughter earlier. Was everything okay? What do you mean? You're kind of a sore winner when you play. Only when my opponent's a noble. She got on quickly. She was ridiculously good for a beginner. Playing against her was nice.
Well, I suppose you are at that age.
No, that's not what I meant. Never really got to play against the other players outside of tournaments. And you only ever want to play shogi against me.
Because Shogi's clearly superior.
It's complete anarchy is what it is. You just bring fallen pieces back to life like some kind of necromancer.
It adds depth. Dropping adds a dimension of play that isn't present in chess.
We both glared at each other silently, but all the tension from before had left. After a few moments, we both just burst out laughing.
You really have grown up, haven't you? You must have been only 10 when you suddenly showed up at my house.
That was a long time ago. She stayed silent for a moment.
I know that you're just trying to help.
Then why won't you let me?
Cuthbert, it's not the right time.
I'm ready for this mess, Timora.
You are. I know you are.
This made me raise an eyebrow at her. Then what's the issue here? Again, she just stayed silent.
Get some rest. You'll need to prepare for the journey tomorrow.
I winced at that thought. I completely forgotten that I'd have to wrangle those horses again. Great. I opened the door and fell into the bed inside. Why do I get the feeling there's going to be a murder in that? It wasn't long before night fell. Between driving that carriage and dealing with those con artists, I was exhausted. I fell asleep. But I felt uneasiness creep into me as the night went on. I felt myself being pulled away, brought elsewhere. Whoop! In every direction I looked, there was nothing. Only the glass-like floor I was standing on. I saw my reflection in the floor. With each step I took, it rippled and shimmered. I knew that I was dreaming. Something deep inside me insisted that there was something real about this. Whispers echoed through the realm. I spotted the small, dark silhouette of a person in the distance. She was silently staring at me, murmuring something under her breath.
Finally found.
She repeated the same phrase, almost like a chant. She looked practically giddy in anticipation of something. Oh! That kind of startled me, actually. I was not expecting that. I finally found you Heavensborn. What does that mean? I woke up to the sound of shouting from downstairs. I clutched at my chest. My heart was racing and I was drenched in sweat. That was just a nightmare. I tried to convince myself of that. I shook my head. Something else was happening downstairs. Those voices sounded like Celeste and Flintheart's, and they were only getting louder.
Please, just let me explain.
I don't want to hear it.
They definitely weren't bickering about a bear meat this time.
I want you out of my house. Get out!
After that, there was only silence, followed by someone storming out of the tavern. The front door of the tavern slammed shut, the entire structure swaying from the force. I lay there silent. What could they be arguing about this late at night? It really wasn't any of my business.
Hi, Dad.
Oh, hello, sweetie.
Flintheart's expression lit up as his daughter rushed over to him. Let's see. The door creaked loudly as I eased it open and stepped out of my room. The hallway is completely dark. Not a single candle was lit. I stepped forward slowly, careful not to trip over anything. Flintheart was trudging up the stairs when I bumped into him. I couldn't see his face, but judging from how he sounded earlier, I probably didn't want to. Sorry.
Right. I forgot you two were...
His voice trailed off. Is everything okay? Sorry, I'm just going to... I slid past Flintheart as I went down the stairs. He barely even noticed. I made my way to the dining room. There weren't any lights in the streets. It was nearly pitch black. Hello? No answer. I looked at the entrance to the tavern. The door was hanging open. The wooden frame was cracked. Damn. I walked through the village streets, but there weren't any lights on. I regretted not taking a lantern on my way out. I heard a squelch as I accidentally stepped on something that was disgustingly soft. I tried my best to ignore it. Celeste? Celeste, where are you? A groan echoed from one of the nearby shacks. A lantern flickered to life from behind the wooden door. An older man stepped out, squinting against the darkness of the night.
You got any idea what time it is?
He eyed me up and down, taking notice of how I was dressed.
This ain't the city, boy. We like our peace and quiet after sundown.
Right, sorry. I was just looking for Celeste.
Who?
Celeste McCoy. She's Flintheart's daughter. Something in his expression shifted. Irritation turned into complete contempt.
Do you know?
Do you know her?
What do you want with that bastard?
That damned mage. Anger. What?
Those two probably woke up half the town with their yelling.
Look, I just want to make sure that she's safe.
Huh, you got nothing to worry about there.
Before I could get our word in, he went back into his house in a huff, slamming the door behind him. I just took a breath and continued searching. Oh, whoa. Garrick Pierce. Still have that famous temper, I see.
You!
Honestly, I never understood how you could stand living in this gloomy shack. Look, sir.
How dare you use that witchcraft in my home?
From what I've seen, I'm not the first. You've really been stirring the pot. The Four Pillars don't care what they've been hearing from your allies.
Is that right? I'll be sure to bring that up at the next meeting.
For Lord's sake, have some sense, Flintheart. At this rate, you're going to bring Lucio Steelwind down on all of us. You may not value your life, but I will not become another one of his casualties.
So you came all this way to convince me to stop?
End this foolishness now, and no harm will come to you or your family. You have my word.
Your word is as good as the dirt you lick off the king's boot. You're a killer. As if I'd ever trust you.
Flintheart, please. As someone who once thought of you as a friend, I'm only going to ask you once.
Friend? Friend? I'll be dead in the ground before I ever call the likes of you a friend. Get out of my house. I don't have time for you.
I don't think you have much time for anything.
Ah!
Oh no.
Damn it all! You stubborn fool! Why couldn't you just listen to me?
Rudolph! Yes, sir. The Scaled Lord, what did you... You killed him!
Alert the Inquisition. Tell them that you saw his daughter fleeing the scene. I'm sure the neighbors heard them yelling at each other.
Understood, sir.
I see.
What am I going to do? Oh!
A few hours had already passed, but I finally found her sitting under an old oak tree. She looked just as tired as I was, probably even more so. Her eyes were wet and red, but she quickly wiped them with her sleeve as she stood up to meet me. I've been looking for you.
Oh, did we wake you up?
I just want to make sure you were okay.
It's nothing. We argue like that all the time.
She wants us to go away. And she's angry and sad.
I'm fine, see?
She tried to squeeze her lips into a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes.
You should really head back. It's not safe to be out here at night.
What about you?
I can take care of myself.
I just stood there silently for a moment. I'm sure he just lost his temper.
You don't know that.
Mind your own business. Sorry. She just looked down and said nothing before exhaling. Maybe
you're right. It won't feel right to let you walk back alone anyway.
She walked past me, leading me back to the tavern. Oh boy. What? We returned, but found the tavern surrounded by knights clad in plate armor. Several carriages were parked outside, and I could see several lights lit within the tavern. Is that the Arcane Inquisition?
Inquisition?
They're an order of knights who investigate crimes committed using magic. Celeste and I shared a glance. Without another word, both of us ran toward the tavern, but she quickly outpaced me.
What? No.
She reached the tavern door, and the color drained from her face. Her hand went to her mouth as she stumbled backwards, her body shuddering.
Dad?
Her voice quivered. Tears began to stream down her face.
There you are. There you are.
As Celeste stood there, frozen, a knight stepped between her and the tavern entrance.
Celeste McCoy, by the authority of the Wyvern Guard Crown, I'm placing you under arrest.
The knight tried to grab her arm, and it was like something flipped inside of her.
Oh dear, look at those eyes. Oh damn. She slammed her palm into the knight's chest, his plate armor reverberating as he was launched several feet backwards.
3 other knights rushed forward. They tried to grab her and pin her to the ground. She let a guttural scream against him, almost sounding like a feral animal. It looked like it was taking all of their strength to keep her pinned down. It was like she was a completely different person. I stood there stunned before shaking myself out of it. What are you doing to her? Let her go!
Tyrion!
Thank the Scaled Lord. Miss Timora was safe.
I knew I recognized him from somewhere.
Orym White.
Stay out of our way, or we'll lock you two up right next to her.
He left in a huff, following after the other knights as they slowly dragged Celeste away. Miss Timora, what's going on? Why is the Arcane Inquisition here?
I'm not sure, but Flinha is dead.
What? Let's save the game. Interesting. I'm already interested in seeing this go. Celeste was going to be detained by in Ratholm, Wyvernguard's capital city. She was apparently the prime suspect in Flinhart's murder. Her case would be pushed to trial within the day. Supposedly, they discovered traces of magic at the crime scene. That honestly just raised even more questions. Miss Timora and I were determined to get to the bottom of this. The Inquisition, on the other hand, did what they always did.
This is ridiculous. She has the right to speak to an attorney.
Yeah, well, we can't let you see her until she's been processed.
Orym White, a knight, age 64, the grumpy and apathetic leader of the Arcane Inquisition. He's had a personal grudge against Miss Timora for as long as I can remember. Orym White was the commander of the Arcane Inquisition. Miss Timora had supposedly run into him many times. He always looked like the textbook definition of someone who was too old for this. I didn't usually accompany Miss Timora to her crime scenes, but the few times I had, he was always there to run interference. He always looked like he cared more about making trouble for us than actually doing his job. The Inquisition was deep in the nobility's pockets. I'd always assumed they were paying him to sabotage us.
Don't give me that. There's no way you haven't processed her with the trial this close.
Yeah? Well, unless you can prove it, I don't need to do anything.
Oh!
What's with all this noise?
Oh,
The commander's back straightened out, his smirk turning into a wince as the girl walked into the chambers. Wherever she was, she must have been younger than me. Hi there. Nice hat. Despite that, her voice carried the weight of her authority, something which only Orym clearly relented to. Her aura was as cold and rigid as stone. Her disposition was probably equally so.
Celeste McCoy has a right to counsel, and I know who you are, Ruby Timora.
She turned to Orym. She was almost half his size, but he was practically flinching at her every word.
Well, the girl hasn't been processed yet.
She just let out an irritated sigh as she waved him away.
Let them through.
What? But...
Let them through before I throw you into the cell next to hers.
Yes, lady. I mean, Miss Steelwind.
Steelwind? We heard that name before. Steelwind? Arya Steelwind, a prosecutor. Oh, here we go. So this is going to be the person we go up against a bunch, isn't it? A prosecutor from the nobility who hails from House Steelwind, one of the four pillar families in Wyvernguard. She's the daughter of Grand General Lucio Steelwind, leader of the Wyvernguard military. It's hard to read her motivations, even with the Eye of Horus. She gave me a passing glance as if she were silently appraising me. She walked out of the dungeons without another word. Orym grumbled under his breath as he led us to Celeste's cell. I had to wade through a thickening fog of emotions as we descended further into the dungeons. The collective anger and sorrow of the prisoners was choking me. I'd always hated crowds. I could never shut out the storm of thoughts and emotions that came with them. But I tried my best to keep it together. Celeste was going through a lot more than I was.
Oh!
Celeste was curled up on the cold floor, arms wrapped around her. When she saw us, she scrambled to her feet.
What are you doing here? We know about what happened to your father.
So, we already have we saw the murder as the player, obviously. He caused that bottle to explode in his hands, and then we saw him with a sword through his body. I'm so sorry, Celeste. I still can't believe it. Sadness, anger, and shock. I'm just gonna assume that purple emotion means shock.
Thanks.
Her response came out hollowly.
You're the Inquisition's prime suspect in the murder, and they're planning to push for your case to trial. You'll be brought to court in a few hours. What? No one told me anything.
My mentor scoffed in disgust. She was all too familiar with this.
They were planning to convict you before you even realized you were on trial.
Celeste, Miss Timora is the best defense attorney in Wyverngard. She can help you.
You've been supporting your family from your work as a mercenary. Is that correct?
Did she just say mercenary? Celeste's occupation. Celeste is a mercenary by trade. It's a little unexpected, but who am I to judge? Okay.
From your financial history, it appears that you can afford my services. How'd you even know that? That's not important. What matters is that if I'm representing you, your case is as good as won. You don't even know what happened. Then tell me.
Celeste hesitated, her shoulders tensing at the memory.
I got into an argument with my dad, and I left to clear my head. Tyrion found me a bit after that. I think it was a few hours after I left. When we came back, we saw the knights outside. That's when they arrested me. Celeste, if I'm going to be your attorney, I need to know everything that happened. What? They found your sword inside his body, and there were traces of transmutation magic around the crime scene. There aren't any other registered mages in Cornhaven. I need you to tell me the truth. I just told you everything that happened. What are you...
She looked down confused, before her face tightened into a scowl.
You actually think I did, didn't you? Don't you? You think I was the one who killed them?
Wait, Miss Timora, before I left the tavern to look for her, I ran into Flintheart. He was still alive.
And how much time had passed between that and when you found her?
It was probably about 2 hours, but...
Which means there are 2 hours where she wasn't accounted for. We can work around that, but the prosecution will still... No! I didn't do this!
She's telling the truth, Miss Timora. Celeste would never do something like this.
Cuthbert, you can't just believe every innocent girl who bats her eyes at you.
That is not what this is!
Well, did you see that she's innocent? Can you tell me that with certainty?
Hello, Ludlow. How's it going? Kind of just beginning our adventure through this, Attorney of the Arcane. And already it seems like we're gonna have an interesting first trial on how to prove, some other guy did it with magic. Celeste was being defensive at the moment, too guarded for me to read anything substantial with the Eye of Horus. Being able to read people's emotions with this thing is very handy, but at the same time... I didn't see it, but I know that she's innocent.
Look, either way, we need to construct a proper alibi so I can... No! How can I work with you if you don't even believe me?
Oh, damn, you got hacked a few days ago. Oh. But I'm glad to hear things are back now. I'm doing good, though. Hope things are going better for you now that you got it all fixed. I can only imagine how terrifying that is.
Do you even understand the situation you're in? I know exactly what's happening. My dad's dead, and whoever killed him is still out there. Don't be naive. You're a commoner. You're lucky I'm even here. There isn't a single attorney other than me who will defend someone like you. Yeah? Well, what about him?
I blinked, confused for a moment, before I realized she was pointing at me.
You're also a defense attorney, right?
I am, but...
He's just a kid, McCoy. He's never even defended a case before. I don't care. At least he doesn't think I'm a murderer.
Celeste, hold on.
So you can take that your attitude and leave. I don't need your help. Fine. Have it your way. But when you're staring down the gallows and begging me to appeal to your conviction, I'll be charging you triple my rate.
Before I could understand what was going on, Miss Timora turned away and stormed out. Jesus! As she reached the door, she looked back at me expectantly. I froze. I knew I wasn't in any position to handle a case like this. That said, I also knew I couldn't leave her to face this alone. My mentor let out a quiet sigh before quietly exiting the dungeons.
Sorry. I didn't mean to put you in the middle of that.
I can go talk to her. I'm sure she'll come back and take your case.
No, I meant what I said. I don't want her help.
Celeste, this is serious. Your conviction might as well be a foregone conclusion to the court. Without Miss Timora,
It'll be fine. I know I just pulled you into this without asking. If you want to walk away, I'll understand. I'll figure something out.
She tugged a few times at the cell door separating us. I could have sworn I saw the metal bars bending. Jesus, she's scary. I exhaled slowly. I knew I wasn't ready for this. can't stand by and do nothing. I'll take your case, if you'll have me.
Really?
But there's one thing I need you to tell me. The Arcane Inquisition was called to the scene. I had no idea how they even knew magic had been used, but their presence could only mean one thing. Are you a mage?
Yeah, I am.
When that villager confronted me before, he called her a bastard. It made a lot more sense now. Commoners really seem to hate magic, it seems. Do you have a noble blood?
What does that have to do with anything?
This an endgame? Yeah, it is. I kind of just saw it on off chance, but it's supposed to be like a Ace Attorney games. So, and I always like Ace Attorney games. So I thought I'd try it. After all, it did win the poll as well. The ability to use magic is hereditary. Almost every mage descends from the nobility in some way. If you have birth parents in the nobility, we might be able to use their influence to your advantage. To our advantage.
I don't need anyone's help. I'm McCoy. That's all I need to know about myself.
Seemed best not to push that matter further here. Even so, that's probably why they arrested you.
What?
Miss Timora mentioned earlier, a town of farmers like at Cornhaven wouldn't have had any other registered mages. It's a good thing you registered with the kingdom. It would have just added one extra charge if you hadn't. But they found traces of magic at the scene of the crime. They have no choice but to suspect you.
Are you serious?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure how much help I'll really be. Miss Timora said herself, I've never defended a client before.
Is everything really gonna be okay?
I don't know! Why would I say something like that? A defense attorney should be putting their clients at ease. But no matter what, I'll get you an acquittal. Doesn't matter who stands in my way, man, king, or god.
What?
Sorry, I used to say that a lot as a kid.
No, it's okay.
At least it made her laugh. Anyway, take some time to rest up. The trial will begin in a few hours. I couldn't imagine what she was going through. She not only lost her father, but she was also being framed for his murder. But this was exactly why I became an attorney, to defend people exactly like her. Stories like hers were far too common. But this time, I had the power to change it. She was putting her trust in me. I would make sure she wouldn't regret it. Alright. Oh, we're just getting straight into it. It still hadn't sunk in yet. I was standing in a real courtroom. Let's take a look at... So, we don't have a whole lot yet. We don't even have the, we saw earlier who was the murderer, but we don't actually have his profile yet. But he also had a servant with him. So we're gonna have to find a way of dragging them into this. I'd only ever acted as Miss Timora's assistant. Now I was front and center at the defense table.
Are you okay?
Yes, of course. Yeah, if I kept saying that, it would end up being true. Oh god. Child. That woman from the dungeons was also here. She must have been the prosecutor for Celeste's trial. No wonder she was able to order around the commander like that. I feel her piercing gaze, her piercing glare burrowing into me. Why was she looking at me like that? Was she trying to intimidate me? Because it was definitely working. Order! Oh god!
Court is now in session for the trial of Celeste McCoy.
A 80-year-old judge.
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
Oh, the defense is also right, Your Honor.
Very well. Prosecutor Steelwind, could you please list the charges? The defendant is Celeste McCoy, a mercenary by trade and a registered mage. She's charged with second-degree murder and negligent misuse of the arcane arts. The crime occurred within the McCoy Tavern, a local inn that was shut down years ago. Those who lived nearby report hearing a loud argument coming from within the building around 1 a.m. At 1:08 a.m., a carriage driver entered the tavern to investigate the disturbance. It was there that he found the victim, the defendant's sword impaled within his body. The Inquisition has provided me an autopsy report and documentation for the sword.
An autopsy report. Died at 1:12 a.m. after being stabbed from behind with a magical blade. A fatal wound shows heavy traces of transmutation magic. Celeste's sword, the alleged murder weapon. It's an ornately designed sword, but it has no magical properties.
What's the defendant's relationship with the victim? I see that they share the same last name. The defendant is the victim's daughter, but not by blood. She was adopted into the family when she was an infant. Her birth parents are currently unknown.
I see. What an unfortunate turn of events.
To begin, the prosecution would like to call Commander Orm White to the stand.
Oh boy, here we go.
Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. Witness, name and occupation.
She's got a cane.
Name's Orm White. I'm the commander of the Arcane Inquisition.
Commander, please testify about the details of the Inquisition's investigation.
Yeah.
Alright, here we go. Witness testimony.
We got a call late at night. Somebody found a dead body inside the McCoy Tavern. When we arrived on the scene, we found Flintheart McCoy dead on the floor. The defendant's sword was still in his chest. We have a bunch of witnesses who heard the victim and defendant in a loud argument before the body was called in. That argument must have turned ugly, because the defendant killed the old man using her magic sword.
It has no magic properties. Well, we've already got something, but we'll go through everything first, just in case.
Yo! Yo, magic hologram.
This was going to be difficult. The defense sword was the murder weapon. It's possible that the murderer used it to frame her. That must have meant that the crime was premeditated.
Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Mr. Cuthbert,
Where was I supposed to start again?
I need to prove that Sliss was innocent, but they found her sword in the body.
Tyrion, this is the part where you say something, right?
The longer I stood there, the more I noticed everyone was staring at me. I could feel the case cracking. Each moment of silence was just another blow to my credibility.
I want to face Sir Itai not our bumbling sidekick.
Hey,
Your Honor, the defense clearly has nothing to say against the prosecution's overwhelming evidence.
Yep, this whole thing's pretty open and shut.
no, wait!
I'm so sorry, Tyrion. I didn't do enough for Frey. Now she's...
Miss Timora, does this mean they're going to execute her? No, not again. Was I seriously going to watch that happen again?
Tyrion!
Her palm cracked across my face. I stumbled back and almost fell over. She had every right to be angry, but that wasn't what I saw in her face. I'm sorry, Celeste,
Stop. Just listen to me. You trained for this, right? You know what to do.
I've never done this before. She cursed under her breath. She searched her mind for an answer.
And just treat it like something you have done before. I don't know, you're good at chess, right? Just treat this whole thing like you're playing chess.
What?
I don't know, yesterday you were calm and you were focused. To just channel that feeling. Look at the pieces on the board or something like that.
He made a lot of statements. Every statement that he made, every word that came out of his mouth, they were all just pieces on the board. The match wasn't won from the first move. It came from developing the pieces I had and taking every advantage that presented itself. I apologize, Your Honor. The defense is ready to begin the cross-examination.
seeing this as this is your first trial, Mr. Cuthbert, I'll overlook it this one time.
There we go.
Thank the gods that actually worked. She's scared but happy.
I need to carefully examine every statement he made, line by line. The key to every cross-examination was identifying which statement contradicted the evidence in my notes. Once I did that, I need to present the contradicting evidence. Cross-examination. You start cross-examining a witness. The key to each cross-examination is to determine which part of the witness's testimony contradicts any of the items in your notes. Use these arrows to carefully examine each statement in the witness's testimony. Identify the contradicting statement and present the item that contradicts it. We got a call late at night. Someone found a dead body inside the McCoy Tavern. Press. What time did you get this call? And who discovered the body?
The call came in at 1:08 a.m., and the witness wanted to remain incognito.
It wasn't unusual for a witness to request anonymity. It was well within their rights. But it would have been a lot easier if I could cross-examine that witness directly.
What happened when you arrived, Commander?
When we arrived on the scene, we found Flintheart McCoy's dead body on the floor. The defendant's sword was still in his chest. How are you so sure that the sword was my client?
Her sword is made out of some weird alloy. I think it was forged out of the country or something. It'd be hard to mistake something like that.
We also have several eyewitnesses who verified that the sword belonged to the defendant. She made no effort to hide it from the public. Quite the contrary. She was quite proud to show it off.
Even so, that doesn't necessarily mean that she was the one who stabbed him.
Yeah, well.
We have a bunch of witnesses who heard the victim and defendant in a loud argument before the body was called in. How do they know it was my client who was arguing with the victim?
You were there, weren't you? Don't tell me you didn't hear them. Every witness we talked to knew it was them.
I couldn't really argue with them there. Celeste and Flintheart had very distinct voices, especially when they were raised. Damn. I know this is the statement, but I'm going to press it first. That argument must have turned ugly because the defendant killed the old man using her magic sword. I was there when that argument took place. Flintheart was still alive when my client left the tavern.
Perhaps, how do you know that she didn't return to murder her father afterwards?
Aren't there plenty of other people around who could have committed the crime?
The tavern's been closed for years. The defendant, the victim, and Timora were the only ones there before the body was discovered. Plus, the murder weapon was her sword.
It was given that Miss Timora didn't do this. Yes. Another person must have shown up at the tavern after Celeste and I left. Could have been the witness who discovered the body. His testimony was straightforward, but that's exactly what would help me. Celeste was innocent, so there had to be a flaw in his logic. I just need to compare each statement to each piece of evidence in my notes. Once I found the contradiction, present, yep, we already know how this works if we played the... So, that argument must have turned ugly because the defendant killed the old man using her magic sword. I'm gonna first... This is a game like Ace Attorney, so I'm just gonna save to make sure. But... that sword is not magical. Objection! Objection achievement. Successfully complete cross-examination. Commander White, are you sure that the victim was killed using the defendant's sword?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious from the crime scene.
I think I'd have to disagree with you on that. If your testimony is true, the defendant's sword couldn't have been the murder weapon.
What are you talking about, kid? The sword was inside his body.
That may be, but take another look at the autopsy report. It says that the fatal wound contained traces of transmutation magic. You even testified that the sword was magical.
So, what's your point?
It's simple. How could a non-magical blade leave traces of magic in the wound?
What?
My client's sword may look unique, but it's entirely non-magical. It couldn't have left those traces of transmutation on the wound.
That doesn't make a lick of sense. If the sword didn't kill him, well then why was it in the body?
There's only one reasonable explanation. The wound was created magically, and someone shoved the sword into the wound afterward.
And that girl's a mage. She could have easily whacked that old man using magic.
Why would she murder the victim using a spell, only to then stab him with her sword? She would just be incriminating herself. If anything, this series of events proves something else. Someone used magic to murder the victim, then pushed my client's sword into the wound to frame her.
Objection!
Oh dear.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Mr. Cuthbert. Your Honor, the defense is suggesting that another person used the sword to frame the defendant. But the defendant clearly cast a spell on the sword at the time of the murder.
She cast a spell.
Commander, testify as how magic was used during the murder.
What? Alright. I see where you're going with this.
Alright, what next?
The sword itself ain't magical, but spells can still be cast on it. That defendant over there, her spell compendium's got a spell called Mage Blade. She must have cast it on her sword before stabbing the old man. The spell is the reason why we found traces of magic on the body.
Mage Blade. Mage Blade. As transmutation school, incantation is Arcane. Gesture, there's none. Duration while concentrating, and it requires concentration to be used. For the duration of the spell, the edges of this object, usually a blade, become unnaturally sharp, making it more effective at slashing through tough material. While under the effects of the spell, the object emits a yellow radiant glow. The target object must be no larger than a 5-foot cube. The target object must be no larger than a 5-foot cube. A spell compendium listed in every spell a mage knew how to cast. It was a fundamental piece of evidence that proved which spells a mage could and couldn't use. Celeste, do you have your spell compendium with you?
No, my dad was the last person who had it.
But why would Flintheart have her spell compendium?
He's right. I know how to cast Mage Blade. It's actually the only spell I know. I'd like to add that we found traces of transmutation magic on the defense sword as well. As I'm sure the court knows, magical traces stay on objects for 48 hours after the spell is cast on them.
It has no magical properties. Traces of transmutation magic were detected on it. Those 48 hours really tighten the timeline for cases like this. Hang on a sec. I was just doing something real quick. Because of that, crimes need to be investigated before all the magical traces disappeared from the crime scene. It also gave the courts the perfect excuse to push these cases through the system as quickly as possible.
Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination.
The commander's testimony was a lot vaguer this time. He probably wasn't expecting to give a second testimony. Pressing his statements really helps in situations like this. Doing that might reveal new pieces of evidence that I could use against him. Alright, let's see what you got. Cross-examination. You can press to gain more info. The sword itself ain't magical, but spells can still be cast on it. Are you accusing my client of casting a spell and channeling it through her sword?
There are a vast number of spells that can operate like that. Spells from the School of Transmutation are almost exclusively channeled through an object. Your client clearly learned a spell that would aid her in her work as a mercenary. Speaking of which...
The defendant over there, her spell compendium's got a spell called Mage Blade. Mage Blade.
It's a transmutation spell that sharpens and empowers my sword.
Wouldn't it be excessive for the defendant to use a spell like that on the victim? He wasn't wearing any armor or protection at the time of death.
The victim and the defendant were in an intense argument. Perhaps she used the spell in a fit of rage. Perhaps she simply cast it out of habit. What matters is that the sword undeniably has traces of transmutation magic on it.
She must have cast it on her sword before stabbing the old man. Why would she go to the trouble of doing that? Her sword alone would have been enough to murder a defenseless person.
Mages are always looking for an excuse to throw their power around. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
Isn't that just your own personal bias, Commander?
We don't need to understand why the defendant did what she did. The fact of the matter is that traces of magic were found in the body and the sword. Do you have any evidence of the contrary, Mr. Cuthbert?
That spells the reason why we found traces of magic on the body. About that, spells only leave magical traces on the objects they target, and those traces are only detectable for 48 hours. If my client cast Mage Blade like you said, there shouldn't have been any magical traces on the wound. There would only be traces on the sword.
We always find random magical traces at crime scenes. We can't always explain each trace we detect.
That sounds more like a failure on the Inquisition's part than anything else. Can we really trust that your knights examined the crime scene properly?
You don't believe me? Take a look at this picture.
I'd seen pictures of dead bodies while studying Mr. Timura's past cases, but there was something unnerving about seeing someone I'd met yesterday. Blood it's being stabbed through the front. I carefully inspected the photo, taking great care to keep it out of Celeste's view.
You can see it here plain as day. The sword has the highest concentration of transmutation in traces.
But why didn't those traces fully cover the weapon? Did the transmutation spell damage the sword somehow? A picture of Flintheart McCoy after he was murdered. It shows traces of transmutation magic that were on the sword.
Why was this picture not brought to my attention, Orem?
What would be the point of that? The entire case is open and shut.
The prosecutor seemed unnerved by something. Yeah, there's something in that photo, isn't there? She stabbed him right through the chest using Mage Blade. Wait, I hit the wrong button. While under the effects of the spell, the object emits a yellow radiant glow. The target object must be no larger than a 5 feet cube. He's right about the photo. It clearly showed that he was stabbed from the front. So why'd that bother me so much? His testimony was a little bit vague this time. Yeah, we already... She stabbed him right through the chest as using Mage Blade. Wait. I think I see the problem. I just don't. I need to I need to see how exactly. I think I see it. I'm gonna save the game just to make sure, but I think I see the problem. Let's see if I'm right. Present.
Objection!
Listen. I'm sorry, Commander White, but you're showing us an even more glaring contradiction. Yep. The problem is that the sword's facing... So, this photo shows that the sword is piercing him through the front. Look at the hand... Look at that symbol at the... below his, like, right by his, arm. That's the symbol that's at the hilt of the blade. But the autopsy states that that they died from being stabbed from behind. That doesn't make any sense. If that was the case, then the blade would be going... Then the hilt should be on the other side. So why is that there?
Oh, yeah?
In your testimony, you said that my client stabbed the victim right through the chest.
You can see it right there in the picture. So where's your contradiction?
That's exactly the problem, Commander. Your picture undeniably shows that my client's sword impaled the victim from the front. But if that's really true, why does the autopsy say that he died from being stabbed in his back?
What?
Orem, you were supposed to submit everything you had to me. Why did you withhold this photo?
There was no point! She's a mage. It couldn't have been anyone else.
Murmurs rippled through the gallery. Even the judge shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Our justice system may have been corrupt, but they never get away with such a blatant error.
Order! Order in the court! Mr. Cuthbert, what is the meaning of this?
Your Honor, this photo clearly shows my client's sword impaling him from the front. Which means there's only one way for the autopsy to be true. The sword would have needed to be inserted into the wound after the victim had died.
That's crazy!
Then why don't you enlighten me, Commander White? Do you think my client impaled the victim hilt first with her sword? Or do you think she stabbed him through the chest, removed it, then placed her sword in the body to frame herself?
Well, that's...
No, what happened here is obvious. The real murderers stuck the sword through the victim's wound to implicate my client. But they made a careless mistake and stuck the sword through the opposite side.
You're actually pretty good at this.
Objection!
Oh dear. Hang on.
Appears I underestimated you. But you've still gone ahead of yourself.
Is that so, Monsieur Wind?
Let me ask the defense one question, Mr. Cuthbert. If your client didn't kill Miss Flintheart McCoy, then who did?
How should I know? If I'm not mistaken, it's the commander's job to figure that out.
Oh, I'm well aware of the commander's incompetence, but one fact still stands. There were magical traces on the wound and the sword. Would you like to tell me how many mages live in that small town?
I didn't like where she was going with this. There's not really any other suspects, is there?
Only one. The defendant is the only registered mage who lives in Cornhaven.
Right. Cornhaven was a village of farmers. Celeste was the only mage there.
The defendant was also established to have been with the victim minutes before his time of death. In addition to that, I have several witnesses who heard them arguing. You, on the other hand, can only implicate an unknown assailant. I doubt you could even tell me who they are.
Even so, it's clear that the prosecution can't reliably prove how the victim was murdered.
I can't say the prosecution's evidence is irrefutable, but the evidence still leans heavily against the defense. There are far too many unanswered questions for me to pass a verdict. We will give the Inquisition time to investigate the crime scene and clear these unknowns. I suggest that they conduct their investigation more thoroughly this time. We will resume the trial tomorrow morning. Court is adjourned.
All right.
Hello, Cuthbert.
Hey, Ruby. Oh, Miss Timora.
I tensed as she approached me. I'd been so focused on Celeste's case, I hadn't even thought about how I'd left things with my mentor. Scaled Lord. She had probably been in the gallery too. She must have seen how I froze up during the first cross-examination.
Your job is to put your clients at ease, not the other way around.
Sorry.
I'm sure she was just snapping you out of it, but everyone saw her become violent with you. That's not exactly helpful if you want to prove that she's not a violent murderer. Make no mistake, the prosecution will use that to their advantage.
What's wrong with you? He did fine.
McCoy, if the Inquisition didn't botch the investigation, Cuthbert would have never been able to buy this much time.
In case you've forgotten, he's my defense attorney, not you.
Damn.
How can we have to take notes from you?
No, she's right, Celeste. I need to do better. I can't ever let myself freeze up like that again. I might not be so lucky next time.
Other than that, I'll admit that you did well. You cross-examined the commander adequately, and you handled Steelwind's rebuttals as well as you could have.
I remember how Prosecutor Steelwind was glaring at me at the start of the trial. Even thinking about it was enough to make me nauseous. Steelwind. Why did that name sound so familiar? Wait, isn't House Steelwind one of the four pillar families?
That's right. Lucio Steelwind is the Grand General of Wyvern Guard's military. Hasn't he been caught up in a lot of scandals recently?
Oh.
Scandals. He's been having people killed by the thousands.
Right. I remember seeing several articles about him in the Ratholm Gazette. In recent years, groups voicing their grievances against the crown have begun to surface in the countryside. King Olivier would answer their complaints by unleashing Steelwind soldiers on these so-called insurrectionists. More often than not, their peaceful protests turned violent, leading to bloody retaliations from Lucio's forces.
And Arya is Lucio Steelwind's only heir. When I saw her name on the docket, I wrote her off as a noble role-playing for fun. But she's good. Better than most of the prosecutors I've faced. She's taking this seriously, and with what Flinthar was doing, I can't but wonder if the prosecutor is acting on her father's behalf.
Do you think Prosecutor Steelwind is protecting the real killer?
The Inquisition Knights were the first responders on the scene. Didn't that strike you as odd?
Right. In a small town like Cornhaven, the village militia would be the first people there.
For the Inquisition to respond so quickly, they would have needed to know that magic was used at all. This whole mess feels a little too staged. And with a Steelwind involved, this whole situation reeks of corruption.
So we're going up against a corrupt system right now to see, trying to involve we have to figure out a way of dragging out the guy that actually did it.
I'm sure locking up Flinart's daughter would send a clear message to his allies.
If that were true, why'd she help us in the dungeons? Either way, this works out in our favor. Maybe she wants some to be proven something's wrong? I can't fight the Steelwinds on the battlefield, but I can fight them in the courtroom.
On that subject, I've been meaning to give you this.
My spell compendium?
I grabbed it from the dining room before the Inquisition arrived. They have a bad habit of misplacing pieces of evidence like this.
Celeste's Spell Compendium. Celeste McCoy's Spell Compendium. It contains a formula for only one spell, Mageblade. So this is your Spell Compendium, and it only has one spell.
Mageblade. The prosecution will need to prove that Mageblade was used in the murder. It will restrict their plan of attack, which will give you an edge over them.
I still have no idea who actually did this. Celeste, I need you to talk about what your father was doing.
Oh.
She glanced at the bailiff. He was living close, staring daggers at her. Hello!
I should go. It looks like they can't wait to throw me back into that cell.
Wait, She turned away and quickly walked off without another word. Miss Timora just shook her head.
She's practically begging for a conviction at this rate.
Bringing up her late father may have struck a nerve. I would need to be more delicate next time. I can speak with her in the dungeon later. Right now, I want to take a look at the crime scene. With how negligent the Inquisition were, I doubt they found everything.
If you're planning to investigate the crime scene, you'll need this.
Pulled out a small blue runestone. I froze for a moment, staring wide-eyed at it.
Is that?
Attorney's Runestone, a magical runestone that allows you to take pictures of crime scenes and write notes telepathically. Every attorney has one. It's almost like a badge to them. Can I flash my runestone at everyone like I can do a badge in the Ace Attorney games?
It's an attorney's runestone. I had a commission for you after you passed the exam last month.
You've had one ready this entire time.
Cuthbert, are you crying?
No. Why my eyes delicately stored the runestone in the pocket of my jacket?
You embarrassed them today. Don't expect them to be that sloppy again. As much as I hate to admit it, your investigative mind is sharper than mine. If anyone can get through this, it's you.
Thank you. She turned to take a seat at the bench near the courtroom entrance. It looked like she would be staying here until the case was over. I tucked the last spell compendium into my jacket. I hadn't slept, and my body still ached from the carriage ride. I still didn't know whether I was truly up to this, but none of that mattered. Celeste was counting on me, and I wouldn't let anyone get away with killing Flintheart, even if the Steel Winds were involved. Let's poke fun at them, shall we? That sounds delightful. The Inquisition had set up a teleportation circle at the crime scene. As the defense attorney for this case, I was permitted to use it. Oh, heck yeah, we have teleportation magic. With it, I could instantly travel back and forth between the McCoy Tavern and the Capitol. It was miles better than having to travel by carriage. Heck yeah!
Oh, it's you. What are you doing here?
Commander White stepped in my way as I approached the tavern entrance. This time, I took out my attorney's runestone and presented it to him. I'm the defense attorney in this case. I have every right to look at the crime scene.
Whatever. Just remember, I've got my eye on you. You can take that rock out of my face now.
Sorry. You've begun your investigation into the crime. You'll need to collect clues and evidence by moving to different locations, talking to witnesses, and examining locations of importance. Oh, heck yeah. You know I gotta do it. Present!
Kid, you already showed me this thing.
Yeah, it's an attorney's runestone.
I know.
He looks like a little kid showing his mom a drawing. I clear my throat as I stow the runestone back in my pocket. That's awesome. Now I really gotta know. Book. What do you think about this?
I don't know what you're expecting me to say.
Does anything else get a reaction from him? Nope. It's the Ace Attorney way to do this. It doesn't matter if it's not an Ace Attorney game, it's still an attorney game, and I'm still doing this. What do you think about all this? What about Mage Blade? He's just looking away like,
Could somebody please get this kid away from me? I never knew you were Timora's kid. I always figured you were an intern or something.
she doesn't really talk about that much.
I've only ever seen her in court. It's hard to picture a woman like that raising a kid.
There wasn't much to picture. She raised me the same way she built a case. Sternly, stoically, and always in control. I have to ask, did something happen between you and Miss Timora?
Miss Timora? You really are her lackey, through and through.
She's my legal guardian. I owe a lot to her.
Oh. That's who you were this whole time? I didn't even know she had a kid. Look, I don't know what she's told you, but she ain't the hero you think she is.
This is about the rumors, isn't it? They're just lies spread by the nobility to discredit her.
They ain't lies, kid. I've seen for myself. That woman's a criminal.
My hand clenched to a fist before I calmed myself down. This wasn't the time for emotion. She defends mages who don't have the protection of the nobility. She hates the aristocracy just as much as you do.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know this guy.
It's the guy who got murdered.
Oh. Never expected a mercenary to look like that, but after seeing how many men it took to arrest her, I can kind of see it. What the hell were they feeding that girl?
Bear meat, from what I've seen.
Huh. Guess it makes sense. You are what you eat.
I wonder if we can get bear meat in the Inquisition's mess hall. This is awesome, the fact that you can just read their minds. Look at yourself.
I don't know that guy.
It's you idiot. I heard that this was Prosecutor Steelan's first trial. She must be pretty talented if that's true.
Pain in my ass is what she is. That damn noble comes in here telling me how to do my job. Lord knows what she's even doing here.
Do you think she's on behalf of her father?
I honestly don't know. My men are on edge because of that. You know, we were deployed to one of those regions, the ones where our old man was squashing those rebellions. They said we needed to investigate the terrorists there, but by the time we got there, they just had us clean up the bodies.
Scaled Lord.
Doesn't matter if it's women or children. Lucio Steelman will kill them all the same. A bunch of my men quit after that. They couldn't stomach working for a monster like that.
What about you?
He'll get paid somehow.
Not like I can do anything. He's basically a duke. Sadness, anger, and shock at it. Evidently, he's got some heavily mixed emotions about all this. Evidently. Let's talk. Questions. Commander White, I was wondering if I could ask you some questions.
You seriously think I'm gonna help you? I wonder who your boss is. I know who your boss is, and I know what you're up to.
She probably sent you here to con me. No, anger and shock. I just need information about the crime scene, as is my right.
Yeah, sure you do.
At first, I thought he was just another corrupt knight, but this felt oddly personal. I wondered if this could all just be a misunderstanding. I might be able to persuade him to cooperate with me. Psychological profiles? You'll occasionally need to argue against people and persuade them to cooperate with your investigation. Psychological profiles help you in ensuing arguments. They give you information about your opponent and help you understand which options to pick. You can fill a person's psychological profile by talking to them or presenting them certain items. So that's what that bar up there is. Well, let's talk with the other things first. Inquisition. So what does the Arcane Inquisition do exactly?
You trying to pick a fight with me?
No, I'm genuinely curious.
Well, we're called in whenever they find traces of magic at a crime scene.
Do crimes like this happen often?
Nah, maybe once in a blue moon.
Made sense. Most mages were in the nobility, after all. The ones who made a habit of falling into scandals didn't last very long. You must have an easy job, then.
You got that right.
That's the only reason we exist, to clean up the nobility's mess. Sadness and anger at that. You don't seem very happy about that. Okay. Might be able to work with that. Mages. You seem to speak negatively about magic. Do you have a personal grudge against mages?
It ain't a grudge, it's just common sense. All it takes is one spell. Some rich kid just needs to wave their hands and mutter some magical nonsense. The next thing you know, someone's dead on the ground. Not to mention, if someone bonehead really overuses their magic, they end up snapping and going on a rampage.
Are you talking about Mage Blight? Mage Blight? What's that?
Yep, that's what happens when a mage gets too arrogant, and nobles have that in spades.
I don't know if this is going too far, but why would you join the Inquisition if you hate mages so much? Considering the fact that...
My job is to sweep the nobility's crimes under the rug.
I didn't mean to insinuate...
Nope, you have the right of it. Anytime a noble screws up, I'm told to look the other way. But every once in a while, I'm allowed to put a criminal mage behind bars. We can't go after the nobles, but any other mage is fair game. Or at least they were before your boss showed up.
My boss? Did he have something against what Miss Tymora was doing? I have to ask, did something happen between you and Miss Tymora?
Miss Tymora.
Oh, we already read this. We might be able to work with the psychological profile now. Let's go ahead and save the game, just in case. Overwrite that. Alright, let's give it a shot. Commander White was being hostile towards me. At first, I thought he was just being corrupt or apathetic, but he seemed to have a personal grudge against Miss Tymora and me. If I could clear his misunderstanding, he might help me. Let's actually wait. Maybe we can look around here first. Is a painting of a mage? There's some text on it. Samala Daglian, a legendary practitioner of the arcane arts. He mysteriously disappeared one day. It's rumored that he was developing a formula for a new transmutation spell. Daglian was reckless in casting a spell, however, and he quickly lost control of it. His body was never found. Many speculate that he didn't die during the accident, but if that were true, where did the spell take him?
Sounds like a cautionary tale against using magic.
That might have explained why Flintheart kept it in his tavern. I see, if something's already been explored, then... A lamp mount on the wall. It's gonna be built into the tavern. Is this an artificery machine? I didn't expect to find something this sophisticated in a town like this. I'm streaming. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I keep getting talked to.
Artificery is just magic with a different name.
Actually, these machines draw ether from surrounding ley lines to...
I didn't ask for a science lesson. Anyway, look where Artificery got these folks. The energy cell broke and they haven't had power for weeks. Just goes to show that nothing can beat good old oil and flame.
Broken power cell. The McCoy Inn is outfitted with several lamps powered by Artificery. However, the Arcane power cell has been broken for weeks and the lamps can't be turned on. That might be important then. There are candles on each of the tables in the dining area, but there are also lamps mounted on the walls. On closer inspection, they appear to be Artificery, machines that could reproduce the effects of magic. Why wasn't the Inquisition using those instead? Anything else? Aside from, like, the obvious, I mean. It's a portrait of someone. There's some text on it. Adam Evley, politician of the pedantic.
I've heard of this guy. He's some kind of politician from one of the nations south of here. And he's pretty much a shoo-in to win whatever election they have going on.
An election? Had Flintheart been studying alternate forms of government for his little revolution? Shards of a broken bottle were next to the chalk outline. The shard has a label on it. It says Lotus Juice.
I've never heard of that brand before.
Shattered bottle of Lotus Juice. The shattered remains of a glass bottle. You found it next to Flintheart McCoy's body. The label says the words Lotus Juice. There was a chalk outline on the ground of the tavern, creating a rough silhouette of Flintheart's body. The chalk lines match the crime scene photo in my runestone. I noticed the traces of transmutation magic on the ground in the photo. I traced my finger over the area where they had been detected. The texture was rougher and almost sticky. Did someone use transmutation magic to alter the floor? If I choose to move different areas here, let's try going to different areas first before we argue with them. As I made my way up the stairs, I overheard Steelwind arguing with someone.
If you keep showing your face here, people will start asking questions. I have the investigation under control now. All you have to do is stay quiet until this is over.
You may be a Steelwind, but this is my land. I will do as I see fit. There he is. This is the guy we saw who actually did the magic. Garrick Pierce. Hi there. As I turned down the hallway, I bumped into what appeared to be a nobleman. With a quick motion, he drew a handkerchief to clean the parts of his clothes that had brushed against me, his cold gaze hardening into a contemptuous glare. He gave me the same look he'd probably give to a rotting pile of excrement on the Cornhaven streets. Oh, sorry. Watch where you're going, you weed. Ah, you're the defense attorney from the trial, aren't you? And you are? I'm Garrick Pierce, the ruling noble of this land. Garrick Pierce, a nobleman. The leader of House Pierce. He is the ruling noble of Cornhaven and the villages nearby. He appears to be involved in prosecutor Steelwind's case against Celeste, but to what extent? I suppose I should thank you for playing your role in the current trial. If only you weren't such a stubborn nuisance. Shock and anger. Suppose that you also believe my client is guilty. I never said that. But I'm not wrong, am I? It matters not what I believe. This entire scandal has done nothing but rile up the public. Magic is a gift for the nobility, and the nobility alone is a symbol of our cosmic right to rule. Bastards like that girl should know their place. This is what happens when the gift of magic is used by those of impure blood. She's just an innocent woman who got wrapped up in all of this. Huh. I must commend you. You almost had me fooled. Excuse me? Wait, do you actually believe her little story? What good is a defense attorney if they don't believe in their clients? Scared lord, and here I took you for another envious commoner, but you actually believe that's right. Are you sure you're Timor's brat? I knew I had to pick my battles, but I really weighed the legal consequences of punching him square in the face. Let's do it! Let me tell you something, boy. Even if that bastard is innocent, the charges have been laid and made public. Someone must take the fall, lest the public accuse the justice system of corruption. If the king believes there is any unrest here, even for a moment, he will unleash Lucio Steelwind and his soldiers upon this region. I'm sure you're well aware of what tends to follow after. That doesn't mean my client should be convicted of a crime she didn't commit. What is one insignificant girl when compared to the stability and well-being of the people in this land? far too short-sighted.
That's enough. Stop antagonizing him, Pierce.
He glanced at the prosecutor for a moment and then back to me. For a moment, I caught a flicker of fear in his eyes. I suppose that even House Pierce has a reason to fear the Steel Winds. Without another word, he walked down the stairs.
I don't agree with him.
Huh?
Our system should exist to deliver truth and justice, not quell public opinion.
If you really believe that, you wouldn't be working against my client. Do you honestly think she's the kind of monster who would murder her own father?
I'm not so superficial that I judge someone based on their appearance. The only thing I trust is evidence, and all of it points to her as the only possible killer.
Is that really what you believe? Or are you just hiding the fact that you're here on your father's behalf?
I'm not working with my father.
I'm working against him just as much as you are. Really? Sadness and anger. What? She's working against her father.
My apologies. I don't know what came over me.
So she doesn't like her own father either. It's fine.
I respect you, Mr. Cuthbert. You should fight according to your own ideals, just as I will fight for mine.
I tried to think of a retort, but said nothing as she walked past me. There were some candles lining up the hallway. Looked like they were part of the old architecture. Several doors led to the guest rooms. Aside from the rooms that Miss Timora and I used, they didn't look like they'd been open for quite some time.
That dog keeps barking.
There was a door at the end of the hallway. I saw light from under the door. Someone was inside. I tried to open the door, but it seemed to be locked. I knocked on the door, but received no answer in return. Seems a bit suspicious to me, but I can't make that dog stop barking, I'm sorry. The Ratholm Dungeons. Let's see this place. I returned to the dungeons, but Celeste's cell was empty. The Inquisition must still be questioning her. I would need to come back later. Lit torches were hanging on the cell walls. It seemed a bit irresponsible to light a fire in here. But prisoner safety was probably the last thing on the Inquisition's mind. The cell had a barred window. The bars were rusted. If a prisoner tried to escape, there would be a 3-story drop to freedom. Somebody could make it work, probably. There was a steel door that led into the cell. A magical mechanism covered by a steel box was placed over the lock. I couldn't help but notice that the mechanism had a dent in it. It looks like the impact had come from within the cell. She's scary strong. Wrong button. Let's go back to the courthouse real quick.
Oh, Cuthbert, you're back.
Sorry, guess I'm just a little lost about where to go.
Well, I guess I can give you some guidance.
During your investigation, you can talk to your mentor to get a clue on where to go next. Feel free to do this if you ever feel lost or stuck. In future cases, you may receive assistance from a certain mercenary. Oh, yeah, I wonder who. Jeez, I wonder. The investigation.
You should really head to the crime scene and gather as much information as possible.
Right. Still have no idea what happened the night of the murder. Where should I go next, Miss Timora?
You haven't really gone anywhere. You should really head to the crime scene.
Right, of course. Look at all this stuff.
I'm not going to go over every piece of evidence with you. You'll learn nothing if I do.
Can you just give me a hint?
No.
Damn you. I'm gonna show you anyway. I'm going to keep checking until you say something. That's how these games go. You must present every individual piece. I can't believe it. I finally have an attorney's runestone.
You worked hard for it.
I never got a chance to thank you.
Just focus on your current case. It has a lot of different functions. I can go over the manual with you after you quit McCoy.
I need to talk to you. You want a bottle? Mage Blade. Look at me.
No.
Look at yourself.
No.
Look at the dead guy.
No.
Look at the... Okay. I still have to check. I will not be satisfied unless I check. Not that. Fine. I hit the wrong button. This door led to the courtroom. Beyond these doors, the fates of countless people had been decided. Speaking of a night, there's some text under it. Sir Diogo, former commander of the Arcane Inquisition, well beloved by both the people and his fellow knights. After many years of service, Commander Diogo retired with honors. With his plaque, we thank and honor him for his dedication and commitment to the Kingdom of Wyverngard. Paying of a Knight, General David Serrano, former chief of the Kingsguard, a beloved ally of House Steelwind who served during the Great Luminite War. The annals of history have countless tales of his courage, wit, and heroism. With his plaque, we honor and thank him for coming to the defense of our kingdom during one of our greatest times of need. There was a bench outside the courtroom. When I was a child, I used to sit there during Miss Timora's trials. Nothing else here. Alright. Let's go back to the tavern. I think it's time to actually get your help here. Let's save the game. Alright. Time to start our argument. Begin. We have a psychological profile of you. Do you have an issue with me, Commander White?
Don't give me that crap. I've seen who you work for. You think I don't know what you're doing?
Ruby Tymora is a crooked lawyer.
I'll be dead in the ground before I help you.
You have no right... So we have that Commander White is stubborn and stuck in his ways. He seems to have a grudge against Ruby Tymora and will react negatively if you try to defend her. However, he will respect you if you defend yourself against personal attacks. You have no right to throw baseless accusations against Miss Tymora or me. My client deserves a fair trial with fair representation. All I'm trying to do is give that to her. Regardless of what Miss Tymora has done, I'm the one heading this case. Considering he will respect you if you defend yourself against personal attacks. Regardless of what Miss Tymora has done, I'm doing this. Not her. Regardless of what Miss Tymora has done, I'm the one heading the case. You don't even know me. Whatever problems you have with her, they have nothing to do with me.
I've seen how she defends her clients. Forgery, bribery, blackmail. She'll do whatever it takes to win.
You're just another crook.
Doesn't matter what you say. I know you're just like her.
Me being her successor has nothing to do with it. You know that helping me is the right thing to do. I'm not Ruby Tymora. What you think of her isn't relevant here. Regardless of what you've seen her do, I'm trying to run an honest case. Forgery, bribery, blackmail. Have you seen me do any of those things? I've only defended my client by pointing out your mistakes. I'm not her. I'm not Ruby Tymora. Whatever you think of her isn't relevant here. Regardless of what you've seen her do, I'm trying to run an honest case.
Look, kid, after what I've seen her pull in court, I'm not gonna fall for it.
I have no reason to trust you.
No matter what, I know you're a crooked lawyer raised by the biggest crook of them all.
You have no proof that she's a crook, and you certainly don't have any proof that I'm one either. But the only thing that she has taught me was how to practice law. Have you seen me engage in any crooked behavior? I'm just a defense attorney who's asking you for information about the case. Nothing that I've done has given you any reason to suspect me. Definitely not this one. I feel like this one. I'm just a defense attorney who's asking you for information about the case. Nothing that I've done has given you any reason to suspect me. He spent some time searching for a rebuttal, but after a while, he just let a resigned sigh.
You just want info on the case, right?
Yes, that's all I'm asking for.
All right, fine. I'll answer your questions. But you better not make me regret this.
Argument 1. Successfully persuaded Orm White. Alright, let's talk for real now. Murder weapon. I'm not entirely sure that sword was the real murder weapon.
Right. Guess you want to prove that someone else stuck the sword in her body. In the body.
Did the Inquisition find anything suspicious on the scene?
If you're asking if we found another bloody weapon lying around, we didn't.
That would have been a little too convenient, wouldn't it?
If there was another murder weapon, the killer probably walked out with it.
Do you think they could have hidden it somewhere in the tavern?
Doubt it. After the trial, Steelwind turned the place upside down and scanned it with her magic. If there was something hidden here, we would have found it already.
Orm's mistake. I can't believe you overlooked something so obvious.
Oh, shut with that. I already got an earful about that mess from Steelwind. Well, you don't have to worry about me screwing things up. Steelwind's taking over the entire investigation.
Do prosecutors normally do that?
Nope, she ain't no prosecutor. She's a Steelwind. I know better than to go against her orders from her sort. I know we made a mistake, but she's taking this too far. She even had my men draft a map of the crime scene.
Really? Could I see it?
Knock yourself out. I have a bunch of copies. Don't know how much good it'll do you, though.
Crime scene map. There we go. Found everything I could in the dining area, but what does it all mean? I want to take a look at that map. So 5 feet by 5 feet. Each square is 5 feet. Gotcha. No other murder weapon was found, and there wasn't any evidence of another person at the scene either. If only I knew about the anonymous witness who discovered the body.
Hey, you okay, kid?
Once again, I let everything else disappear from the world.
You listening?
There's no clear evidence pointing to another killer. There is, however, evidence pointing to whether or not Flintheart moved when he was attacked.
What?
How did Flintheart move before he died? There's no blood trail leading to or from the body. The fact implies something about the location of Flintheart's death. Oh, deductions. During investigations, you'll sometimes go over all that you've learned to formulate deductions. Tyrion will think through the case and raise statements that must be answered. Use the arrows to construct a sentence that responds to the statement. And while more than one response may be technically true, only one response will be meaningful. Okay. So...
Maybe.
So how did Flintheart move before he died? How did Flintheart move before he died? Well... Flintheart... Tyrion... Did he move during... I don't see a blood trail leading from Flintheart's body. Tell me something important, mainly where Flintheart was throughout the murder. Throughout the murder. He did not die? No. There was no scream.
What if...
Autopsy. Am I stupid? The killer?
Maybe.
Last week? Where'd this come from? The killer did scream last week.
What if...
Flintheart died where he was attacked. He didn't move from his position at all. He might have even died instantaneously.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
There's also the autopsy report, which says that he died from a stab from behind. He must have been facing away from his attacker. He was probably caught off guard, and he would have been in shock and too incapacitated to move. He also didn't look like his body was dragged anywhere either. He was definitely attacked right where this chalk outline is. This was also location, so... There's also the shattered bottle of lotus juice. How did the bottle shatter? The fragments are right next to the body. The bottle must have only shattered hours ago. Yeah, he dropped it during the attack. We saw that. Flintheart dropped the bottle exactly when he was attacked, which implies that he was holding it when the attack occurred. The shattered remains of a glass bottle. Flintheart McCoy was holding this bottle and dropped it during the murder. The label says the words lotus juice.
What's so strange about that?
These details may seem insignificant, but together they'll give me a better idea of what the board looked like.
Bored?
There's also the fact that the lights were out. Were these candles here when you arrived at the crime scene, Orm?
No, we had to light some so we could see the crime scene properly.
What was the state of the crime scene then? We thought it was...
We thought it was weird too. The girl and her father must have had their argument in the dark.
So they didn't light any candles to make up for the broken light.
What if?
Candles were lit by the Inquisition after they came to investigate the murder. Furthermore, the dining room lights haven't been operational for weeks. It must have been a strange conclusion draw, but this could only mean one thing about the room's lighting.
What if? Maybe.
If there was any lighting during the attack, it could have been produced by the murderer. I could slowly see the position of the pieces, but they were still areas I was unsure of. The McCoy Inn is outfitted with several lamps powered by artificery. However, the arcane power cell has been broken for weeks and the lamps can't be turned on. This means that the lights were not operational during the murder. They might have used a torch or a lantern of some kind. Additionally, the argument that Celeste had with Flintheart must have been sparked by something. Things seemed fine between them before I went to bed. It was spontaneous. They weren't planning to have a conversation in this room. In this darkness, Flintheart wouldn't have a lot of visibility. He probably never saw the attack coming. He would have been surprised and in too much shock to run away.
Bro's just like, what is he doing? How is he... What is happening? Kid?
The bottle may seem insignificant, but he was holding it when he was attacked. Was he pouring a drink for himself or a visitor?
Kid!
I was a frenzy, but the commander snapped me back to reality.
What was that all about?
Sorry, I just got lost in my head. I just get lost in my head sometimes.
Well, cut it out. You're mumbling like a crazy person.
Right, sorry. I felt like I found everything I could here. It was time to move somewhere. I think it's time we go visit the dungeons. Yep, had a feeling. I arrived back at the dungeons. Celeste was hauled down the corner of her cell. She noticed me, and the weight from her shoulders seemed to lift, if only for a moment.
Hi.
She had avoided me before, but I doubt she had seen many friendly faces since the trial. Hi, can't stay for long. I just need to ask you some questions about the case.
Right.
First off, I need to present to you literally everything I've got. Can you tell me more about this?
I don't really know what to say about that. Sorry.
The autopsy. I shouldn't show this to her. She's already been through enough. Shouldn't remind her about her father any more than I need to. This is a pretty strange sword. I've never seen anything like it.
You like it? It's a gift from an Ixian lord.
I'd like to remind you that travel outside Wyverngard is illegal. You shouldn't make a habit of telling people where you got it from.
Yeah.
Girly pop. Here's your dead father. Book. Can you tell me more? No. Look at my badge.
What's that?
It's an attorney's runestone. Proves I'm a certified attorney. It's fitted with artificery. I can use it to take pictures of evidence and crime scenes.
You seem really excited about it.
I've just wanted one since I was a child. I can't believe I finally have one.
Oh, that's nice. I'm happy for you.
She's trying to be positive, but there are clearly more important things on her mind. I straightened my tie and stowed the runestone back in my jacket. Look at this. Bottle? No. How about the light? I didn't expect to find artificery in a village like yours.
Yeah, I bought it for my family to make their lives easier, but I think it just made things more complicated. Honestly, I was hoping it would just make my dad hate magic less, but it malfunctioned a lot. He gets so angry every time it stopped working. He really hated the thing.
Yeah, without an arcane power cell, those lights aren't very useful.
I don't know why he kept trying to use it when he hated it so much.
Mageblade. Mageblade.
It's a spell that magically sharpens my sword so that it can cut through plate armor.
Did you find yourself using the spell a lot?
Well, it's not just for plate armor. I can cut through all kinds of things with it. Trees, boulders, ballistas, fortified gates. It cuts through most those things like butter.
How many places have you broken into? I was really starting to wonder what kind of life she led before today. How many places have you broken into, if I might ask? Look at me.
I don't know who you are.
I shouldn't show her her own father. Tell me more about you. How about this guy? Steelwind? What about the dude that I'm pretty sure is the actual murderer? Nope. Alright. Anything new to examine here? Alright, let's talk. The trial. I'm really sorry for what happened today.
I'll end up okay in the end, right?
As I'm usually forgiving, if she hadn't calmed me down, the trial might have ended very differently.
I still understand, though. Why were there so many traces of magic at the crime scene?
Did you cast Mageblade on your sword that day?
I used it when I was training last week. Is that where those traces came from?
No, magical traces only last for 48 hours. After that, they disappear completely. Not to mention that spells only leave traces of magic on the objects that they are cast on. Even if the sword had made physical contact with the body, the traces shouldn't have spread to the wound.
Really? What does that mean, then?
I don't know. The floor next to the body had a strange texture to it, too. If the killer used a transmutation spell, it may have changed your sword in the surrounding floor.
That doesn't make any sense, though.
The unbreakable sword? I know my theory sounds far-fetched, but the traces were only on parts of the sword. That must mean that the outer layer of the sword must have broken off during the murder.
But my sword can't be damaged like that. Even when transmutation magic is used on it, that's the whole reason why I have it.
How can you be so sure?
Back when I was traveling, I'd always break my weapons by swinging them too hard. They end up breaking in 2 or 3 swings, maybe 4 if it was well made.
How much force was she swinging these weapons with? A lot.
That sword was a gift from one of my clients. He said it was specifically carved from the bones of a purple worm. Transmutation spells can't damage them. I've had it for years, and it doesn't have a single chip in it. I don't even need to sharpen it.
Where'd you get the sword again?
The Eastern Kingdoms.
Isn't travel outside Wyvern Garden legal?
Mercenaries don't have a lot more legitimate options for work in Wyvern Guard. I did what I had to do.
I doubt I'd be able to contact the sword's maker in time, if at all. I would just have to take her word for it. But if what she's saying was true, why weren't the traces of transmutation magic covering the entire sword? Weird. Could you tell me more about your father? I'm sorry. I know this is difficult for you. I remember how you two were before yesterday.
Is this really gonna help?
Knowing more about him could help me figure out who actually did this.
Okay. I was adopted by the McCoys when I was a baby, but they always treated me like I was part of their family. The townsfolk would always shoo me away. They didn't want anything to do with a noble bastard. My dad got into a bunch of fights with them over that.
If I had to go and ruin everything... What does that mean? He was the voice of dissidence, wasn't he? Did you share his views?
I knew he hated the nobility, but I didn't know about his rallies until just yesterday. If I knew how much danger his life was in, I never left Wyvern Guard. I think he knew that. If I'd been there that night, he'd still...
It's all my fault. It's not your fault. No one could have expected that. I felt sorry for her, but I really need to know more. I could hear your argument from my room last night. Your neighbors must have overheard it too. Did any of them come by to check up on you two? They might have seen the person who did this.
I doubt it. Even if they did see something, they wouldn't testify for someone like me.
Why? I thought your father was a key figure among the dissidents.
Yeah, but all of his supporters come from the neighboring towns. Everyone inside the village hates our family. People could tell I was adopted. It's not as if I look like either of my parents. Rumors spread about how some noble lord must have had a tryst with my mom. They were wrong, obviously, but it's hard to stop a rumor like that when it spreads.
That's terrible.
It's fine. I stopped caring about it years ago. Things were manageable before, but things got worse when my dad started speaking out against the nobility. He wasn't just a pariah at that point. He was drawing a lot of attention into Cornhaven. Everyone's heard the rumors about what the Grand General is doing in villages like ours. The neighbors tried to threaten my dad to stop, and when that didn't work, they started vandalizing our tavern. They even steal my parents' supplies. I had to come back to Wyverngard because some of the other villagers broke into the tavern.
They were cowards. They thought they could scare your dad into stopping.
They were scared. My dad was being a giant target on this region. It's not as if the kingdom would care if a village like ours were destroyed.
She wasn't wrong. Stories of Lucio Steelwind were circulating in the papers for months. Even with that, he still stood at the top of this kingdom. There were no real consequences. The argument. Could you tell me why Flintheart was so angry at you?
For as long as I can remember, my dad has hated magic. If he even mentioned it around him, he'd fly into a rage about it.
And you were born a mage.
Ever since our tavern closed, my family's been in a lot of debt. Fighting always came naturally to me, so I became a mercenary and learned how to use magic to help me fight. Most of the Wyverngard's mages are in the nobility. People will pay a lot for a soldier who can use arcane magic.
So that's why she was a mercenary. Makes sense, I guess. Celeste McCoy learned magic so she could support her family. Apparently many people will pay extra for a mercenary that can use magic.
Last night, my dad found my spell compendium. When I saw him holding it, I finally came clean to him, and that set him off. He shouted at me, told me that I betrayed him and everything he stood for. I can't imagine how that must have felt.
I can't imagine how that must have felt.
I deserved it. I knew how much he hated magic. He was fighting for what he believed in, and I wasn't even there to protect him.
Don't say that. You couldn't have known what would happen. I'm sure he still loved you. He just lost his temper.
No. I could see in his eyes. He hated me. And he died hating me.
Sadness and anger. I felt a sharp pain in my chest as I read that, but I didn't say anything more. What about the locked door in the house? There's a locked room in the tavern. It's at the very end of the hallway upstairs. The Inquisition probably searched already, but it's the only room I haven't seen yet.
At the end of the hallway? I think that's my room.
Do you know how I could get in there? I'm your lawyer. I'm not gonna do anything strange.
Sorry, you're right. I always keep the key on me. You can use this again inside.
Alright, let's go back. Alright, let's move. Celeste's room. I slid Celeste's key into the lock and turned it, allowing the door to creak open. I heard the fumbling of objects on the other side. Someone else was there. Oh!
I already told you, you knights, everything that I know. What more do you... Oh, it's you.
Something about the way the woman carried herself reminded me of Celeste. Oh, you're the mother? I knew she was adopted, but she clearly took after her mother. I recognized the same bubbly warmth in the woman's posture, tempered with a subtle hint of maturity. Sorry if I'm intruding, but what are you doing in Celeste's room?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm Jolene. I'm Celeste's mother.
Jolene McCoy. Celeste's mother, and I can't imagine what she's going through. She only has to grieve with her husband's death, but also deal with her daughter's arrest for his murder. Why are you locked in here?
I can't thank you enough for everything that you've done for her. I really appreciate you sticking by her after she hit you like that.
It's fine, really. I kinda deserved it for freezing up like that. Anyways, Jolene was Flintheart's wife. That meant that she knew him better than anyone else, even Celeste. Do you mind if I ask you some questions?
Of course. I'll do anything to help. He's helped Celeste a lot, but can I really trust him?
Fear. Shock. The eye revealed a hint of fear and distrust from her. Let's examine the room first before we do that. It's a table with several chairs, probably used for entertaining guests. Didn't look like it seemed much use, though. It's a painting of a woman with a strange animal. The text says, Madeline Kipling.
Oh, I've always loved that painting. Celeste brought it back from her travels. That girl runs a wildlife sanctuary for endangered species. I think that creature is called a fakip. They live in the swamps of the Eastern Kingdoms.
No, that's an axolotl. I never knew that creatures like this even existed. There's a door leading to the upstairs hallway. Fancy looking bed.
Do you like it? Celeste had it custom made by someone in the city.
Wouldn't something like this be really expensive?
It was. I was really surprised when she returned from her travels. She was making a lot of gold from her job as a mercenary. I'm happy for her, but I still wish she'd do something less dangerous.
Doesn't seem like there's anything else. May I present to you a whole host of stuff. She's been through enough. I shouldn't remind her about Flint Art unless I really need to. Can you tell me more about this?
I'm sorry, but I don't know much about these things.
It's time to present to you every...
If only I told Flintheart about Celeste's magic, we could have avoided all this.
You shouldn't torture yourself like that. No one could have predicted this. Look at the stone. It's an attorney's runestone. It identifies me as a certified attorney.
Wow, you must have worked really hard to get that.
Yeah, it also has a magical tool that lets me take pictures of crime scenes.
Wow, that's amazing.
Something about her overly enthusiastic tone reminded me of my late mother. Damn. Look at this map. Look at this bottle. How about the gears? I heard that you've been using artificery to light up your house.
Flintheart actually hated the idea, but Celeste was so excited to buy it for us, he just couldn't say no. It is a bit of a problem, though. Sometimes the other townsfolk vandalize it when we're out.
I'm still surprised that Celeste is a mercenary. She doesn't exactly look like one.
And you haven't known her very long. Even when she was a kid, she was always picking fights with people. She's definitely Flintheart's daughter.
Fair enough. Look at this key. Mage blade. Nope. Look at me.
I can't thank you enough for defending Celeste. I don't know what we would have done without you. I'm so sorry she slapped you like that. I don't know what got into her.
It's fine. It helped me out more than anything. I just hoped it would be enough. Look at this person that you've probably never seen before. Look at your husband. I just pull his head out.
Why is this happening to us? I can't imagine how Celeste is taking all this.
I'm sorry. I wish there was more I could do.
She must be feeling so alone right now. I just want to see her again and let her know that everything's gonna be okay.
You will, I promise. I'm gonna do what I can. Look at the guy that's probably been pestering you. The girl who's probably been pestering you. The guy who actually did this. I actually saw Garrett Pierce here earlier. Did he say anything to you?
No, I didn't even know he was here. Maybe it's for the best. The Gary we knew is probably long gone by now.
Gary? Why you call him Gary? Huh? Look at yourself. Can you tell me more about your husband? Why did he hate magic so much? I understand that magic is a symbol of the nobility, but things sound different with him. It's as if he thought Celeste had betrayed him somehow.
I wasn't there when they were arguing, but I can only imagine what he said to her. He's never had anything good to say about mages, and I could see how much his words indirectly hurt her.
Did something happen?
I don't really know. I don't trust him enough. I shouldn't talk about Effie.
Effie? Who's Effie? Does Slender resentment have something to do with Effie?
How do you know about her? There shouldn't be any records of what happened.
I have my ways of finding out.
Of course. You work for Ruby Timora. What'd she do? Did she strong-arm one of the neighbors into talking? We don't need people like her going around Cornhaven and open up old wounds.
What?
Thunder always idolized her, but I can never stand her methods.
Is this about the rumors?
Rumors?
When my mentor started fighting against the justice system, the nobility started levying accusations of misconduct against her. They spread rumors that she engaged in bribery, forgery, and blackmail, all to discredit her.
Is that really true?
She personally taught me how to defend and persecute mages like your daughter. You've seen how I defend Celeste. I'm doing everything honestly and legally. Miss McCoy, I know you don't know who to trust right now, but I need to know more about Flintheart. Right now, I don't have any leads as to who might have done this.
Okay, but promise me that you won't mention any of this to court. I don't want Celeste being dragged into another scandal, and I sure as hell don't want any more Steelwinds showing up in town.
I can't make any promises, but my priority will always be to keep your daughter safe.
I guess that's as much as I can ask for.
Alright, let's hear it. Flintheart's past.
Effie was Flintheart's younger sister. Celeste doesn't know about her. She died 20 years ago, and Flintheart never brought her up.
What happened?
She was friends with the son of the ruling noble back then, and he'd always sneak into town to see her. He was so different back then.
I think I see where this is going. Sadness and anger.
Effie had always loved magic. It reminded her of the fairy tales she'd read growing up. He'd always show her his spells by the lake, all to make her smile. He'd been warned not to use his spells without his instructor present. One day, he lost control of one of his spells and wounded Effie. We rushed her back into town, but it was too late. By the time we could dress her wounds, she was already gone.
Stories like that were awfully common among the nobilities these days.
The next day, the Arcane Inquisition came to investigate what happened. The boy's parents used their influence to cover everything up. They even threatened Flintheart's family into staying quiet. After that, they told the town that Effie had been mauled to death by a wolf.
I see. Flintheart McCoy's sister died during an accident involving the local lord and his magic. Ever since then, Flintheart has hated magic and the mages who wield them. That explains his hatred.
Flintheart all but declared war on the nobility after that. He turned our tavern into a meeting place for commoners who shared his resentment. Word spread, and night after night, more and more revolutionaries started showing up to his rallies. It wasn't long before they started planning a revolution. They started contacting like-minded groups in towns nearby. They were even starting to arm themselves.
Excuse me. I'm starting to yawn.
I could only watch as everything unfolded. I'd heard stories about what the Steel Ones were doing to people like him. I begged him to stop, so did some of the other town folk. We knew he was going to get all of us killed. I was shocked when the Knights told me he'd been murdered, but I wasn't surprised. I really hoped he'd let go of his anger when Celeste showed up. He was really starting to change after we adopted her.
Celeste. Can you tell me more about Celeste? How did she come to be a part of your family?
It all happened 19 years ago, a year after Effie's death. We were closing one night when we found a baby with white hair abandoned in the dining area. We waited weeks for her parents to come by, but no one ever came looking for her. We named her Celeste, after the full moon that was out that night. We always wanted a child, so I thought she must have been a gift from the Scaled Lord. One day I spotted Celeste practicing her magic. I think that's when I realized that a noble must have abandoned her at our inn. I didn't care, though. I loved her all the same. Flintheart did, too.
Wait, you knew that she was a mage this entire time?
I did. You haven't known her very long, but she's a terrible liar. Flintheart must have noticed it too, but I think he didn't want to believe it. It's my fault. I should have forced him to see the truth.
Sadness. Flintheart and Celeste. I spoke with Celeste earlier, and she believes her father died hating her.
What? He loved her more than anything in the world.
They must have been really close.
More than anything. Do you want to hear a story? Celeste had just come from the Eastern Kingdoms. She won't stop talking about this foreign drink that she loved. Flintheart did everything he could to have it shipped here. He called in a bunch of favors to do it.
I think I see where this is going. Would it happen to be lotus juice?
In the end, he was only able to get a single bottle of it.
Is it really that rare?
It's a product of the Eastern Kingdoms, and it's hard to import anything from outside of Wyverngard. I wouldn't be surprised if it were the only bottle of lotus juice in the region.
Wait a minute, lotus juice? Is this the ball that Flintheart bought?
Oh no, he was going to surprise her with it. I wonder where it disappeared to.
I found it shattered on the floor of the dining area.
That's strange. Celeste would always help herself to our pantry, so he was hiding it in our room.
Really? When was the last time you saw it?
It was right before I left the house that night. It would have been in his room before their argument.
After his argument with Celeste, he retrieved it. He's gonna try and make up with her. He didn't want her to feel bad. I investigated the tavern as much as I could, but there's still one last thing I need to do. It's time to head back to dungeons and talk to Celeste. Alright, Celeste.
Oh, you're back. Did you forget something?
There's one last thing I wanted to talk to you about. I wanted to talk to you about the argument you had with Flintheart.
Oh.
I knew what it was like to lose a parent. I'd never be able to carry that burden if I thought my mother had died hating me. I know he was angry at you, but after everything I've heard about you two, I know that he still loved you.
Tyrion.
Even in his final moments, I'm sure that he still cared for you.
Shut up. I don't know what you're talking about.
Looks like that wouldn't be that simple, though. I would need to persuade her if I want her to believe me. This is gonna be a big argument, ain't it? That final argument with her father would be a lasting scar on Celeste. Throughout this entire investigation, I'd learned how much they cared for each other. I couldn't leave things as they were. Begin.
I know you're just trying to make me feel better, but my dad has hated mages. I knew that better than anyone.
He's always hated magic. There's no reason behind it. There is a reason he hates magic. It's all because of his sister dying. I don't know if it's my place to say this, but there's a reason why your father hated magic.
What?
Decades ago, he had a sister. She was killed by a mage in a tragic accident. That's why he resents magic so much. It ripped away someone that he loved dearly.
I never knew that. That just proves it then, right?
It was selfish of me to learn magic.
I knew how he felt about it, but I didn't care. I just wanted to get away from my life here. He had every right to be angry with me. I was being selfish.
It was selfish of me to learn magic. I don't think it was selfish. But you didn't learn magic just to benefit yourself, though. You used it to support your family. You gave them hope when the nobility shut down their tavern.
That's...
You didn't have a choice. You had a gift, and you used it to your advantage. That's not selfish.
Shut up.
What?
Just shut up, Tyrion! Why won't you leave me alone?
Celeste.
You don't know anything. You weren't there. You didn't hear what he said to me. You didn't see the way he was looking at me.
He was only thinking about how I betrayed him.
I knew him. I knew him better than anyone. He loved me. He took care of me, and I threw it all away. I chose to become a mage. He would never forgive me for that.
I don't know about that. Take a look at this picture, Celeste.
What's this? Broken glass? Wait, that bottle.
It's a bottle of Lowe's juice. These shards were on the floor of the crime scene.
What? That can't be true. They don't even sell in Wyverngard.
Your father called in a bunch of favors to have it imported for you.
He did?
He didn't hate you, Celeste. He imported your favorite drink just to make you happy.
No, that still doesn't change anything. If he did that all for me, it was before he knew the truth.
That's not true.
Stop acting like you know anything about us. You only met us yesterday. How could you know how he felt about me? Don't you think I want to believe you? I know the truth. He hated me. He hated me just like he hated every other mage.
Celeste, your mother said the bottle was stowed in her room, but I found it shattered in the dining area near where the murder happened. He was holding it when he died. That means he retrieved it after your argument.
So
why would he have your gift if he was still angry at you?
No. Why would he have it?
It's because he loved you, Celeste. He knew he'd lost his temper and hurt you. So he was going to use that gift to apologize to you.
What?
I still don't like this. My daughter working as a mercenary of all things.
Come on, Dad. You know I can handle myself out there.
You shouldn't have to.
They closed the inn. If I didn't do this, we wouldn't have made it through the last few winters. I know you're worried, but I can do this. No one can ever beat me in a fight.
Just be careful. I don't know what I'd do if anything happened to you.
Don't worry. Just let me do this for you. You and Mom both took me in. You took care of me for my entire life. I know I'm not really your daughter, but...
Why would you say something like that?
I'm sorry. I mean...
Did those idiots in the town say that? Tell me who. I'm gonna go knock them out right now.
Dad, no one said that. It's just...
You're a McCoy. You've always been a McCoy. You're our daughter. I won't let anyone say otherwise, especially you.
Okay. Thanks, Dad. I love you.
I love you too.
How could I ever think that?
She trailed off. She'd barely been keeping it together throughout the whole argument. Her voice began to break, and she broke along with it. She paused for a moment, trembling. Then she slowly fell against me. She gripped me tightly, everything from the last few days finally crashing down on her. I was sure I was the last person she wanted to comfort her, but I was the only one there. She held back her grief for this long. She was strong, much stronger than I had been. I hesitated, unsure of how to respond. I just held her as her quiet sobs echoed softly throughout the cell. Celeste,
I'm sorry, but please don't talk to me right now.
I did as she asked. I wasn't sure if it was enough, but I held her tightly. Are you feeling better?
Yeah. Thanks.
She wiped her eyes. They were still red. But she smiled at me, and it wasn't forced this time. Do you need water?
What?
I figured you lost fluids and you might be dehydrated? What was I saying? Celeste snorted out a laugh. I felt silly, but something about seeing her laugh left me flustered.
Tyrion? Is everything really gonna be okay?
It will be. I'll get you that acquittal no matter what.
Man, king, or god?
Yes, man, king, or god. She giggled to herself. Anyway, you should rest. The trial's gonna resume soon. I learned as much as I could about what happened, but I had to assume that Steelwind had done the same. Who knew what the prosecution had in store for us? I just had to hope that I'd stack the board in my favor.
Hester's giving you all the details, Rudolph. Will you remember them?
Yes, my notes are pristine, and I pride myself on my eidetic memory.
Just so there are no misunderstandings, I do not approve of this.
You say it yourself, Lady Steelwind. The evidence proves that I couldn't have murdered Flintheart, which leaves the bastard child as the only suspect. We don't know what sort of tricks Timora's stooge may pull tomorrow. Just see this as a way of securing a just verdict. There will be no need for your father to intervene.
What a bastard. Well, I can't wait to see him break down. Hi, Miss Timora.
Cuthbert, how'd the investigation go?
I feel more prepared at the very least. I don't know exactly what happened, but I have a clear picture of the crime scene.
What'd you find out?
Well, here's everything.
So, there's still no clues directly pointing to another suspect. Have you been able to coax any new details from McCoy?
She's already told me everything she knows. She's not the one who killed Miss Flintheart, Miss Timora. I'm sure of that now.
You trust people far too easily, Cuthbert.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
It's going to get you hurt one of these days. People are never as innocent as they appear.
Does that include you?
What?
Commander White had a lot of things to say about you. Should I have listened to him?
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that I've never believed the rumors about you. Not for a second. You saved me when I had nothing and taught me how to fight against the nobility. Everyone told me that you were a criminal. I wouldn't be right now if I'd listened to them.
Cuthbert.
I'm not gonna stop trying to see the best in people. Celeste is innocent, and I'll prove that to everyone, including you.
You can be really stubborn sometimes, you know that?
I get it from you. That seemed to get a chuckle out of her. Yeah.
I wish I could see the world the way you do, Cuthbert. But the truth isn't always as you want it to be.
I know, but I'm not gonna let that change me. I took a deep breath and readied myself. I was approaching the endgame now. All I had to do was move the final pieces into place and end this once and for all. The bailiff led Celeste into the courtroom, and I followed closely behind him. All right.
Order! Court is now resumed for the trial of Celeste McCoy. Let us review the proceedings from yesterday. The events presented some unfortunate oversights that were made during the investigation.
I personally saw to it that the crime scene was thoroughly inspected this time.
I see. I suppose that puts my mind at ease, if nothing else.
At yesterday's trial, we found inconsistency between the crime scene photo and the autopsy report. Because of this, the defense argued that a third party must have interfered with the crime scene to frame the defendant. To clear any doubts you may have, the individual who discovered the body has decided to testify today.
Really? It was to my understanding that they want to remain anonymous.
The witness in question was within the gallery of the trial yesterday. After yesterday's proceedings, he felt that he couldn't stay silent any longer.
Very well. Let's hear from the witness. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court.
My name is Rise Reginald Rudolph. I'm a chauffeur.
Rudolph appeared to be writing something in his notebook. His pen glided across the page, filling line after line within seconds.
Mr. Rudolph,
Ah, forgive me. I was merely recording everyone present in this room.
you're taking notes.
I always keep clear and detailed records of my actions each day. I found that ordering the present naturally brings order to the future.
What?
With such detailed records, your testimony about the defendant must be thorough indeed.
Actually, I witnessed much more than just the defendant. I saw the crime as it was being committed, and I wrote down everything that I witnessed.
What? If what you're saying is true, why have you waited until now to just testify?
We had initially concluded the evidence alone was decisive enough. We saw no need for Mr. Rudolph to testify. However, that clearly changed after yesterday's trial.
There's no way the prosecution wouldn't use eyewitness testimony from the start. There had to be another reason why he didn't take to the stand yesterday.
Very well, Mr. Rudolph. Please testify to the court about what you saw that night.
Alright, let's begin breaking it down. Let me break it down for you.
I was transporting a client in my carriage that evening. We were driving by the McCoy Tavern when we heard a disturbance. This occurred at 1:08 a.m.
Oh. The text is gone. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, that would fit. That'd fit with time.
Worried that something was amiss, I walked into the establishment to see what the commotion was about. That was when I saw the defendant, lit by the blue glow of the dining room lights. She had stabbed Flintheart, and her sword was shining with magical energy.
Ah. You already screwed up, boyo. The lights were not operation during the murder. Well, we already know where to present, but...
She pulled her sword from Flintheart's back. As he turned to face her, she stabbed him again in the chest. She soon realized that I had witnessed her heinous crime. She dropped her weapon, still impaled in Flintheart, and fled the scene.
Alright.
Incredible. If everything occurred as the witness described, then I see no room for debate.
Of course, the evidence has always been irrefutable.
I didn't remember seeing another carriage when I left to look for Celeste, but it was pretty dark. Could have just missed him. Celeste, did you see him when you left the tavern?
No, I don't think I've ever even met him before. Does that mean what I think it means?
We shouldn't jump to the conclusions, but if he testified that you saw him, he's clearly lying. I just need to find out why.
The defense may now begin a cross-examination.
Alright, jackass, let's begin. I was transporting a client in my carriage that evening. Who was the passenger in your carriage?
Well...
Objection!
Oh dear.
The identity of the passenger is irrelevant. The current witness is the person who observed the crime.
If there was another person at the scene, they may also have crucial testimony.
The passenger is under no obligation to testify before the court. The current witness's account of the events is more than adequate.
I agree. I see no reason for Mr. Rudolph to disclose the identity of the client.
Driving by the McCoy Tavern when we heard the disturbance that has occurred at 1:08 a.m. Can I assume this disturbance was the argument between my client and her father?
Yes, I heard two distinct voices, one young woman and an older man.
Right, that also matched up with what the neighbors heard.
What did you do after hearing the disturbance, Mr. Rudolph?
Worried about something was amiss, I walked into the establishment to see what the commotion was about. You stopped your carriage in the middle of a job. What did your passenger think of this?
He took no issue with it.
What kind of passenger would be okay with stopping mid-drive? No! Let me...
The passenger's thoughts on the matter are irrelevant to this testimony. Unless you have any hard evidence to prove otherwise.
She objected whenever I brought up the passenger. There was something more there.
Now then, please tell us what you saw in the establishment, Mr. Rudolph.
That's when I saw the... I can't even handle your... No, I need... Don't let my anger fuel me yet. That was when I saw the defendant lit by the blue glow of the dining room lights. She had stabbed Flintheart, her sword shining with magical energy. You sound certain that you saw my client and the victim. How are you so sure it was them?
Flintheart, McCoy, and his daughter were well known within the town. Flinnar had made himself quite known in the region through his social activism, and young Celeste tends to stand out whenever she walks through the streets.
Is he hitting on me?
It does make sense. You don't really look like an average commoner.
Are you hitting on me?
Be serious. Anyways, Mr. Rudolph, do you live in Cornhaven?
I don't live there, but my work brings me into town quite frequently.
The witness's place of evidence has no bearing on his testimony. What matters is the fact that it's like he was there when the murder occurred.
Steelwind kept deflecting questions about his life. Pulled her sword from Flinart's back. As he turned to face her, she stabbed him again in the chest. So you're saying that my defendant stabbed him twice with her sword?
Yes, that's exactly what I saw.
There's only one visible wound on the body. If what you say is true, then that means she stabbed him through the same wound. Isn't that extremely improbable?
Improbable, but not impossible. It may be strange, but that's what the witness saw happen.
She's reaching with that, but I wouldn't get anywhere unless I could prove he was lying. She soon realized that I witnessed her heinous crime. She dropped her weapon, still impaled in Flinhart, and fled the scene. You supposedly witnessed a murder, and you let the perpetrator get away.
I'm just a simple carriage driver. I have no way of combating an armed assailant.
The witness also saw the defendant using magic. Would you really expect a chauffeur to subdue an armed mercenary?
I guess not. He probably came up with the detailed story beforehand and wrote everything down. His quirk is the perfect cover for him to read over his notes.
It'll probably be hard to catch him lying if he has a way to keep his story straight.
It's actually just the opposite. Yep, it's gonna slip him up majorly. With this many details, it would be that much easier to find an inconsistency. I just need to find it, and I see a glaring one in particular. As always, we save the game. So, that's when I saw the defendant lit by the blue glow of the dining room lights. She had stabbed Flinhart, and shut up. Rudolph, you testified that you saw my client murdering the victim. And you supposedly saw her casting magic while doing so.
Yes, I could never forget such a grisly sight. That moment was burned into my memory.
I see. Well, it's funny that you say that.
What makes you say that?
Because your entire testimony was a complete lie.
What?
Are you accusing the witness of perjury? Surely you know that such accusations can't be made lightly, Mr. Cuthbert.
Miss Steelwind, the dining room lights are artificery devices that are powered by an arcane power cell. However, that same arcane power cell was broken during the time of the murder. Those lights had no energy and the room would have been pitch black. The witness couldn't have seen anything, much less a homicide.
Wait, I can explain.
There's no need, witness. You could have easily seen another light source. The McCoys probably lit a candle or lantern because of that blackout.
The witness clearly described a source of blue light. A rudimentary candle or lantern wouldn't emit a color like that.
And the witness was clearly mistaken.
The witness records everything he sees in his notebook. He even remembers the exact time that this encounter occurred. So why would he be incorrect about such a clear and obvious detail? No, what the witness saw was some form of magic. Due to the lack of power, it couldn't have been artificery. It must have been an arcane spell.
That's it.
Witness?
I was mistaken about something. Please, allow me to revise my testimony.
Mr. Cuthbert, what are your thoughts?
If he thinks he saw something different, then it's only fair we hear him out. It didn't matter. No matter what he came up with, I'd tear through each of his lies. Alright, come on then, buddy. Witness testimony.
I remember now. Yesterday they said that Flinhart was killed using magic, yes? I must have seen Miss McCoy channeling a magic spell. The spell was called Mageblade, wasn't it? That's it. The blue glow that I saw was created by Mageblade.
Oh, you're bad at this. Mageblade only emits a yellow radiant glow. But I'll let you go through it for now.
I see. So the blue light that you saw came from the defendant's magic. Mr. Cuthbert, you may proceed with your cross-examination.
With pleasure. You can already tell he's starting to crack. And even the music's starting to realize it. I remember now, yesterday they said that Flinhart was killed using magic. Are you changing your testimony based on yesterday's trial?
No, that's not what this is. It's just that after thinking about it, I finally understand what I saw. I must have seen Miss McCoy channeling a magic spell.
Wouldn't that be pretty noticeable and distinct?
The crime took place in the village of farmers, and the defense magic wasn't known to many until that night. What reason would the witness have to think that he was witnessing magic? He would just think that the sword was wreathed in a glow by some other means.
The last part was a bit far-fetched, but I needed something concrete to refute it. The spell was called Mage Blade, yes? You seem uncertain about the spell you saw. How can we trust the rest of your testimony?
It doesn't matter if he was unable to identify the specific spell. The only thing that matters is that he saw it happen.
I wouldn't get anywhere unless I can present a clear contradiction. The blue glow I saw was created by Mage Blade. You still don't sound so sure of yourself.
I wasn't sure at first. But then I remembered they found traces of magic at the crime scene. I didn't realize I was looking at a magic spell. Is it really so hard to believe?
I suppose not. Not that I actually believed him.
You just keep telling lie after lie.
She was trying to keep her composure, but her fists were firmly clenched. Whoops. He's trying to cover up his mistake. I'm sure he's just making things up on the spot now.
He doesn't know how magic works. I bet he barely understands what Mage Blade even does.
Which meant there had to be a flaw with his testimony. Yep, he sorely does not understand Mage Blade. For you see, Mage Blade does not emit a blue glow. Mage Blade emits a nice, bright, yellow glow.
Objection!
Rudolph, you don't know much about magic, do you?
Of course not. Are you trying to say I should have recognized Celeste's magic Mage Blade?
No, I meant that you probably wouldn't know what Mage Blade looks like. But that's exactly where you made your mistake.
My mistake.
Rudolph, if you were aware of how Mage Blade works, then you would know that the spell emits a yellow radiant glow. Which means the blue glow you saw couldn't have possibly been Mage Blade.
This is ridiculous. What's the significance of seeing a blue glow instead of a yellow one?
It's extremely significant, prosecutor. If the witness saw a blue magical glow, then he must have witnessed a different spell at the scene.
Preposterous. You don't have any evidence to support that claim.
That blue light made a large impression on the witness. He wrote it down in his notebook. He even mentioned the color in both of his testimonies. I find it hard to believe that he'd be mistaken about something like that. So, what did you see, Mr. Rudolph? Did you see my client at the scene casting a spell that she couldn't possibly cast? Or did you actually see another mage at the scene?
Well...
Objection!
Your Honor, the defense is completely out of line.
Let me remind you that perjury is a crime, Rudolph. If you are found to have lied in your testimony, I will personally see to it that you are prosecuted.
No, wait!
No, that is quite enough of that. Oh boy, here we go. Finally you show yourself. Bring it. Garrick Pierce had stood up from within the gallery and walked to the witness stand, shoving Rudolph out of his way. He'd broken several laws with that one act alone, but no one moved to stop him. The bailiff looked at the judge wearily and awaited instruction. The judge said nothing. His eyes simply narrowed as he waited for Pierce's next move.
Pierce, there's no need for you to take the stand.
Nonsense. I have nothing to hide. I will not stand idly by while your case falls apart. It seemed that for the first time, the prosecutor had lost control of the room.
What is the meaning of this, Miss Steelwind?
This is Garrick Pierce, Your Honor.
I'm the Honourable Lord of Cornhaven and many other villages in that region. I'm afraid I must apologize. These misunderstandings have been entirely my fault.
What do you mean, Lord Pierce?
You see, Rudolph was not the one who witnessed the crime that fateful night. It was me. I was the one who saw that gruesome attack. I had my driver report the body so that I could remain anonymous.
Are you saying that you had Rudolph lie for you?
I simply dictated to him what I saw and had him repeat that to law enforcement. With what's been in the news lately, it simply wouldn't do for a member of the nobility to appear publicly in court. But alas, it appears that the time for discretion has passed.
Lord Pierce, regardless of your good intentions, this is a very clear act of perjury.
I understand, and I will accept the consequences of that. However, I would be remiss if Rudolph's shoddy testimony allowed that girl to escape justice. Please, Your Honor, allow me to testify to what I saw that night.
Very well. This is highly irregular, but I believe the court will benefit from your testimony. However, know that this misconduct will not be without consequences.
Very well. From the look on the Lord's face, it was clear he would only get off with a slap on the wrist. Now we're getting somewhere. On the night of the murder, I found myself unable to sleep, so I took a leisurely carriage ride around Cornhaven. I happened to be passing by the McCoy Tavern when I heard a loud commotion from within the building. Curious, I stopped my carriage and took a single step inside the establishment. That is when I saw the scene inside. I saw the defendant stabbing that poor man with her sword.
You're Pierce. He's a member of the nobility. That also means he's a mage. Does that mean...
There's no doubt about it. He's the only other person who could have left those traces of transmutation at the crime scene. He has to be the mage we're looking for.
He killed my dad. He's a murderer.
Stay strong. Sorry, this must be a lot for you right now.
Don't worry about me. Just take him down.
With pleasure. I would love nothing more. I like how even the music's changed to him. To fit him. Oh, I can't wait to disassemble you. On the night of the murder, I found myself unable to sleep, so I took a leisurely carriage ride around Cornhaven. That seems like a strange way to pass the time. Not that I believe him for a second.
The witness's eccentricities are beside the point. What matters is that he was clearly at the scene.
I wouldn't quite put it that way, however. I happened to be passing by the McCoy Tavern when I heard a loud commotion from within the building. I'm guessing this commotion was the argument between my client and the victim? One would conclude that, yes.
We've gone over this point several times, but their voices were raised loudly during the argument. It's unreasonable to say that the witness heard them from his carriage.
Curious, I stopped my carriage and took a single step inside the establishment. That is when I saw the scene inside. If he was at the tavern entrance, that would mean he would be where the W token is. You saw the entire scene from the entrance. It'd be quite dark considering the lights weren't operational, even if my client was using Mageblade at the time. Of course, I've forgotten that detail. I couldn't see what was happening, so I used my magic to illuminate the scene. You used magic at the crime scene? Yes, I remember it clearly. I conjured a blue light to illuminate the scene. The same blue light must have been what my driver saw. I thought that Rudolph didn't witness the crime at all.
If I had to guess, Mr. Rudolph must have seen the blue light from the carriage. Because of that, he made the detail a part of his testimony earlier.
Made sense. Rudolph was so sure that he saw blue light. It would have been strange if he was lying about that. Which spell did you use to illuminate the crime scene? It was a conjure light spell. Conjure light, a transmutation in school skill. Its incantation is Luxo, no gesture needed to use it. Its duration is as long as it's being concentrated on, and it requires concentration. For as long as the caster concentrate on this spell, a mode of magical light will be centered above their head. The color of the light is chosen by the caster and can be changed at will for the spell's duration. This mode of light provides illumination up to 15 feet of the caster and no further. I think I already see a problem. Your Honor, if the witness used magic at the crime scene, then I'd like for his spell companion to be added to the court record.
I see no reason to invade the witness's privacy over a trivial elimination spell.
I agree. The defense will need a stronger reason to requisition the witness's spell companion.
You're right, Your Honor. Your wisdom is truly fitting of your station. There's a big problem with yours. Not that. I need to look at this. 5. If he was standing here at the door, 1, 2, 3, you're out. You can't possibly have seen it with Illuminate. Oh, shut up. I agree. I used Conjure Light to illuminate the scene from the tavern entrance. From there, I clearly saw the crime unfold. Casting a spell seems like a pretty significant detail to forget. For you, maybe, but for a practice mage like myself, using magic is as natural as moving my arm. That could be possible. I use the Eye of Horus so much that I'm barely conscious of it half the time. I saw the defendant stabbing the poor man with a sword. Let me guess, did you stab him from the opposite sides each time? Yes, now that you mention it, I do recall that happening. Although I have no idea why she would do that. Unless you can prove that she didn't do exactly what I described. I suppose not. At least not yet, anyway. Alright.
He keeps saying that he stood at the entrance the entire time. That has to be a lie.
Right. If he stabbed Flintheart, he would have been a lot closer to him. How'd I prove that, though? No, I know an easy way. You let something big slip. Conjure Light. A spell which allows one to create a mode of light to allow one to see their surroundings. There's just one small problem with that. One itsy bitsy problem with that possibility. Conjure Light only works for 15 feet. You couldn't possibly have seen it still. Pierce, you said that you illuminated the scene from the tavern entrance. Did you take a single step inside the building? Of course not. I remember it very clearly. I always stood at the entrance. Then maybe you can help me go over this map of the tavern. If we take a look at this map, that would place you right here where the W is. Of course, do I need to repeat myself? Well, I find it interesting that you illuminated the crime scene from all the way back there, considering that Conjure Light only illuminates an area within 15 feet of the caster.
What?
Pierce, Conjure Light doesn't behave like a normal light source. It only provides illumination up to 15 feet of the caster. If you had stayed at the entrance, your spell wouldn't have shown you anything.
Objection!
A spell's range is irrelevant. We've established that the victim would have been illuminated by Mage Blade.
The witness clearly stated that he couldn't see what was happening. That was why he cast as Conjure Light in the first place.
But what does this mean? Lord Pierce, did you illuminate the crime scene or not?
Well, I can answer that question for you, Your Honor. The witness did illuminate the scene of the crime. He illuminated because he was standing right where it happened.
Mr. Cuthbert, what are you getting at?
Your Honor, the defense would like to formally accuse Garrett Pierce of murdering Flintheart McCoy. Hold on for a moment. This is absurd. I could have easily used a different spell to illuminate the room. And which spell would that be, Pierce? The specific spell escapes me. I'm not sure which one I used now that I think about it.
You idiot.
Well, maybe we can figure that out together when you relinquish your spell compendium to the court. Steelman, sing something!
If you had listened to my instructions, you wouldn't be in this situation. You made your bed. Now lie in it.
Steelman, you treacherous! Order! Give it! Give that damn book.
That's enough. It appears that the prosecution has no objections. With everything that has occurred, I'm afraid I must ask Lord Pierce to relinquish his spell compendium to the court.
Bingo. Garrett Pierce's spell compendium. It contains the formulas for the following spells. Prestidigitation, I don't know how to say it. Conjure Light, Conjure Water, Frost Wave, and Shape Liquid.
We did it! We got spell compendium!
With that, the case was as good as ours. Or was it? She didn't even try to stop me from taking his spell compendium. I doubt she'd do that just to spite Pierce. Prestidigitation, an evocation school, no incantation, a snap of the fingers, duration while concentrating and requires concentration. The caster creates a simple and harmless visual effect around their hand. This effect will last for as long as they maintain concentration on the spell. So it's just a disturbance. Conjure Water, or a conjuration school spell. Acquio, outstretched palm gesture. It's infinite and requires concentration. Causes water to magically flow out of the caster's hand. This water will flow so long as the caster maintains concentration on the spell. Frostwave. Conjuration, no incantation, requires both hands outstretched. It's instant and requires no concentration. Anything caught within the range is hit with a blast of extremely cold air. Liquids hit will be immediately frozen and organic life will immediately enter stages of hypothermia. Shape Liquid. Transmutation skill. Big Aqua. Requires a pointing finger at the target. Its duration is while concentrating and requires concentration. While concentrating on the spell, the caster can magically manipulate up to 10 layers of liquid and form it into complex shapes. At any time, the caster can choose to freeze the liquid and solidify its current shape. While frozen, the caster can also choose to make the liquid instantaneously melt. Your Honor, I've looked at the spells in Lord Pierce's compendium. Conjure Light is the only spell that he can cast that would shed a blue light. It's clear that his testimony and many of his statements were false. This little brat! Such insolence! Lord Pierce could very well be a suspect in the murder of Flintheart McCoy. I'd argue that this presents enough reasonable doubt to acquit the defendant.
Mr. Cuthbert, I acknowledge that Lord Pierce's actions are quite suspect. However, I will not pass verdict just yet. There's much more we need to learn.
Whoops.
What? That's not how it works. We proved that there's reasonable doubt. That should be enough to acquit me, right?
In a normal case, maybe, but the situation is different for this trial. The public won't accept an unsolved homicide involving magic. Unless we can unequivocally prove your innocence, the court will keep drawing things out.
What? But that's not fair.
That's just how our system works. The kingdom has always cared more about easing public tension than delivering justice.
Are you serious?
The court will be suspending the trial of Celeste McCoy until further notice. We have no choice but to give the Inquisition time to investigate Lord Pierce as a possible suspect.
Well then. Ah, what the? Ah, crap. Not good.
A possible suspect. The very idea of that is preposterous, Your Honor.
What else does she have up her sleeve?
Let's revisit the basic facts of the case. Flynn McCoy was murdered using a blade with a transmutation spell active on it. Mr. Cuthbert, why don't you tell me the spells that Lord Pierce knows?
The spells are Prestidigitation, Conjure Light, Conjure Water, Frostwave, and Shape Liquid. Wait a minute.
You realized it too, haven't you? The witness doesn't know any transmutation spells that can be channeled through a solid object.
That can't be right. Ha! You're right! Absolutely right, Steelwind!
I see. If all that's true, that would still leave the defendant as the only possible killer.
He was the only other mage there. It has to be him.
But he doesn't know any transmutation spells that could be cast on your sword. You can't prove that he stabbed him while using magic. I see! I know what he did!
Wait, how do you do it then?
She was right. How did he do it? Since the beginning, I've been bothered by the traces of transmutation magic surrounding Flynnhart's body. That's it! Water! Originally, I thought that the killer had somehow magically altered the sword and the surrounding wooden floor. That's not at all what he did. He just altered the water. But none of Pierce's spells could do something like that. Those transmutation traces were scattered all over the place. They didn't even fully cover the sword. So what if he didn't use a sword? What if he used something else? Order! I got it.
The defense did cast some doubt on the witness's testimony. Nevertheless, I must conclude that he could not have possibly committed the murder. With that in mind...
Please wait, Your Honor. We still can't rule out Pierce as a suspect just yet. What are you on about? Lady Steelwind said it herself. None of my spells could be used to stab Flynnhart. I don't know any spells that could be channeled through a blade. None of your spells? None of your spells could be channeled through a blade. And yet you had Shape Liquid. But you didn't use a metal blade, did you?
What nonsense is this? The autopsy report clearly states the wound was created by a blade. If he didn't channel magic through a blade, how could he have possibly committed the crime?
Steelwind, Garrett Pierce didn't kill the victim using a sword. He killed him using an object shaped exactly like a sword. No. Does he know the truth?
What? I'm afraid I don't quite understand, Mr. Cuthbert.
Your Honor, I'd like to bring your attention to Pierce's spell compendium. Garrett Pierce knows a seemingly insignificant spell called Shape Liquid. With it, he can control any liquid and mold it into any complex shape he wants. He can even freeze it, locking that shape in place. If he had enough water, he could create a sword made purely out of ice.
No. Is it possible that he...
What do you have to say for yourself, Lord Pierce? Stubborn little brat! Pierce's breathing became frantic. He clearly wasn't prepared to be backed into a corner like this. He feels frustration, stress, and fear emanating through the Eye of Horus. The board was set. I just had to deliver the final blow. Let's do this! Argument. I'll tell you exactly what I have to say, you commoner! I think we're getting close. I'm not the one on trial here. We're here because that bastard child didn't know her place. I saw the murder. I witnessed everything. That girl used our holy arts to murder her father because she lacked a noble's temperament. I saw the murder. I saw everything. Let's begin cracking him in half. We already know you can't. And how, pray tell, did you see everything? If you recall, you testified that you only took a single step inside the inn. However, you would have needed to be within 15 feet to see my client with Conjure Light. This again? If you're going to keep drilling on that one detail, then I admit it. I stepped further into the inn. I kept that out of my testimony, all because I knew that you and Time Mora would use it against me.
Lord Pierce!
But you didn't just withhold that detail from your testimony, did you? You testified the contrary. You committed perjury, Pierce, plain and simple. Let's not stop there. For your story to be true, you would have needed to be within 15 feet of my client. According to your testimony, my client had just finished murdering her father. Wouldn't she have noticed you? If you were that close, then surely you would have enough to apprehend her.
So why didn't you? Don't you have a duty to your citizens you lord over? Shut your filthy mouth! That woman was armed! I had no reason to put my life in danger! She was the one holding a blood-soaked sword! I was terrified when I saw her holding that bloody sword! She just murdered a man, and I might have very well been next! A blood-soaked sword. She was holding a blood-soaked sword. I actually don't know what to present here, to be honest with you. That proposal shouldn't have been possible. That proposed sequence of events shouldn't have been possible. She was holding a blood-soaked sword. That can't be right, can it, Lord Pierce? This photo of the crime scene shows that the sword was left inside the victim's body. How could she still be willing if it never left the body? What? Damn you! Damn you! Ewan, why don't you say anything? What? Steelwind froze. Even when I had the advantage, she always maintained her usual poise. But now she was scrambling for something to say. Nothing came to her.
Lord Pierce, please, calm down.
How can I remain calm when this charlatan is trying to frame me? This is a complete travesty. I came here to reveal the truth and testify against that criminal. And what do I get instead? Slander for some lowly peasant. You talk about justice, but you committed several acts of perjury to twist the outcome of this trial. You don't care about justice. You're just here to cover up your own crime. You filthy little... So admit it, Pierce. You created a makeshift sword with shaped liquid and used it to impale Flintheart. You shoved my client's sword into the wound while the remnants of the real murder weapon melted. You thought it was a perfect crime, didn't you? Wait, what did you just say? What?
Lord Pierce.
My apologies, Your Lord. Your Honor. It's just I realized something absolutely hilarious. The defense has put forward an interesting theory, but there's one problem with it. And what's that? I think you said it yourself. You shoved my client's sword into the wound while the remnants of the real murder weapon melted. You thought it was a perfect crime, didn't you? That's right. It would have been the perfect crime. Because any evidence to support that theory would have evaporated with that melted blade. What? No! He was right. Magical traces don't spread through physical contact. They're only detected on the objects they are cast on. If he used a blade of water to kill Flintheart, all the water he used to make that sword would have evaporated by now. That would mean there would be nothing left of the murder weapon. You've spun quite the tale here today, but in the end you don't have a shred of evidence to support it, do you? You have nothing.
Isn't there anything we can do?
I became quiet, thinking through each piece of evidence I'd found. They all fit into place except for one piece.
Tyrion? Why isn't he saying anything? Is it really hopeless?
Any worries she had disappeared. She probably saw the look on my face. It was familiar to her. It expressed the same quiet certainty I had every time I defeated her. I wasn't sure how, but there was something left of the murder weapon. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been any traces of transmutation at the crime scene. What is this? You glare at me all you want, but it won't change the fact that you've lost. I despise people like you. You twist this kingdom's laws to serve your own ends. You trample on the lives of the people you're supposed to be serving and protecting. But as long as I'm standing in this courtroom, I will never let that happen again.
Naught can remain concealed.
What did I just do? What was that? I feel my head being dragged to the ground. I felt like it was about to burst. The
At the same time, I felt an extreme sense of clarity. As if nothing could be concealed from the Eye of Horus now. I can't believe that peasant! He pushed me this far! Once again, I saw Pierce's thoughts, but this sensation felt sharper than it usually was. I could feel his mind reacting to mine, as if it were a pond rippling around me as I stepped through it. I wondered, could I reach further in and pull something I could use? The Eye of Horus. You activated a new ability through the Eye of Horus. You can temporarily project items into a witness's mind and read their thoughts about it. These thoughts can sometimes reveal new information and grant you insight. Fill the insight gauge to proceed. Project. I want to know the bottle. After all the trouble I went to, I can't believe that boy figured out which spell I used. But no matter, it's not as if there's any evidence that implicates me. I'm lucky that old fool had that bottle of water on it with him. Bingo. Ball of water? Well then, as riveting as this has been, I believe it's time for me to be on my way. Now wait a minute, Pierce. What is it now, you cretin? I'll say it as many times as you need to hear. There is no evidence of a liquefied weapon at the crime scene. Bullshit! You're right, Pierce. If you used shaped liquid on a body of water, the murder weapon would have evaporated entirely. Bravo! Seems you've finally gotten that fact through your thick head. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, Pierce. What if you didn't use shaped liquid on a body of water? What if it were another type of liquid? What are you going on about? Pierce, shaped liquid doesn't just work on water, it works on all kinds of liquids. There was a shattered bottle next to the body. The liquid you used to form the murder weapon, it came from that bottle, didn't it? You were probably wary of leaving evidence at the crime scene. You must have decided to use any liquid you could find there. Luckily for you, the victim was holding the perfect quantity of liquid in his hand. That begs the question. If we had someone analyze the broken pieces of this bottle, would we find traces of transmutation magic? Do you think you can bluff me? We've already established that anyone that supposedly shit would have evaporated. Except the liquid contained in this bottle wasn't water, it was tea. So, what difference does that make? A blade of ice made out of water would have evaporated entirely, but a blade of frozen tea would leave a dried residue. The tea wouldn't completely disappear. No. I wondered why there were so many traces of transmutation scattered around the crime scene. When I felt the texture of the floor, I thought a transmutation spell had caused some sort of chemical reaction with the wood. But the real answer was a lot simpler than that. The transmutation spell didn't alter the floor at all. It was just a stain from the spilled tea. I bet if we compared the tea residue on the floor to the residue inside the bottle, we'd find traces of transmutation on them. There's your murder weapon, Pierce. You're done. You have nowhere left to go. That's checkmate. You're done.
Bailiff, send for Orem. The Inquisition needs to analyze the crime scene at once. We need to confirm the defense's theory. The time window to detect traces of magic is closing. I have the report from the Inquisition. What does it say? The traces on the sword, the body, even the floor, they all came from tea residue. We found those same traces on the shards of the broken bottle, too. It's undeniable. Someone cast a spell on that liquid contained within that bottle. And the defendant has no such spell.
We win!
You really didn't you? Why?
As if someone like you would ever understand.
Understand? You murdered my dad.
Murdered? Murdered! I murdered her. I can't believe it. She's dead. Her smile, her beautiful voice, it's all gone. I deserve death. Stop this nonsense. Father! You're grieving, but it will pass. She was only a commoner. No, Father. I loved her. And I killed her. You're the one who did this. Garrick, you sweet, innocent child. Flowers may be beautiful and bring you joy, but do you call it murder when you accidentally step on one? These people, these peasants, they may resemble us, but you know deep in your heart that they aren't like us. What? We have the Scaled Lord's favor, and they do not. They were created to serve us, to be utilized by those of us who matter. Father! So don't fret so much over a simple commoner.
by next month, you'll have completely forgotten about that wretched thing.
How could I have been so blind? She was a simple flower, nothing but a worthless peasant. They're all just peasants. All of them. Is he murdered to protect my kingdom? Is he murdered to pull weeds before they blight my land? That fool of a man was spreading poison, and I did my duty by removing him.
You're a monster.
I'm a nobleman, a chosen vessel of the Scale Lord's will. You are all nothing. Do you honestly think you can indict me? My word carries more power than 100 of yours.
Bailiff, escort Pierce to a holding cell.
Stillman,
First-degree murder is punishable by execution, Lord Pierce. I suggest you remain silent, lest you incriminate yourself further.
you can't be serious. You, of all people, must understand the position I was in. Your father knows what it takes to maintain order, if not for me.
Shut your insidious mouth. I will never understand your sick, disgusting mind. I'd sooner slit my own throat. Well, what are you all waiting for? Take him away.
Yes, take him away at once.
I can't believe it. We actually won. Tyrion,
I know, Celeste.
Tyrion...
Teary-eyed, she threw her arms around me, embracing me tightly. I just stood there wide-eyed, looking toward the gallery members who were staring at us. I wasn't sure where to put my hands.
That was remarkable.
Miss Tamora! Hey, what'd you think?
I'll be honest, when I realized that the murder weapon had evaporated, I thought the case was over. You did a great job of turning that around.
It was just luck. If he'd used water, things would have ended very differently.
It had nothing to do with luck. Not this time. You were able to deduce which liquid he used, and you did it just by looking at a few shards of broken glass. I knew your deductive skills were good, but that was incredible.
It wasn't just deduction, though. I did something with the Eye of Horus today, something I'd never done before. It seems that the Eye of Horus has more interesting things to it. I had an amazing ability, but I was starting to realize that I knew next to nothing about it. If I wanted to use it effectively, I need to learn more.
You're all quite lively. There's no need for such hostility. But I wasn't expecting less from the Hound of the Eye Taker.
The what? What did she mean by that? I glanced at Miss Timora, but she avoided eye contact with me. It was subtle, but her posture stiffened and her brow clenched ever so slightly. I couldn't see any thoughts through the Eye of Horus.
I must admit, I was hoping to test my mind against yours directly. However, your project proved to be a worthy adversary.
Is this some kind of game to you?
You almost condemned an innocent girl to death. The courts operate by having two powers of opposition. When those powers are balanced, justice prevails, just like it did today. Your victory today was just the system working as intended.
That's the problem, though. It's not working.
Huh. Working as intended? You know very well our system only exists to protect your people. You can act as sanctimonious as you want. That doesn't change that with each passing day, your father butchers more and more innocent. I know. I'm not my father. I walk a different path. I know you have no reason to believe me, so I'll let my actions speak for myself. I look forward to doing battle with you again, Tyrion Cuthbert.
Steelman, why did you arrest Pierce at the end of the trial?
I understand.
He was right in a way. You didn't need to do that.
He openly admitted to first-degree murder. Why wouldn't I have him arrested?
Never mind then. I'm also looking forward to facing you again. Yeah.
Good. I hope to see you soon.
I still couldn't tell what she was thinking, even with the Eye of Horus. She definitely wasn't the bloodthirsty killer that her father was.
Well, that kind of killed the mood, didn't it?
Not at all. I think we should celebrate.
What are you thinking?
There's this high-class restaurant in the upper quarter of Ratholm. They usually only serve nobles, but they'll let anyone in if they have enough gold. Wait, do we have enough gold? I thought we were poor. I have some connections with the staff here. Don't worry about it. That sounds scary. These last 2 days marked the beginning of my journey into the world of law and magic. Our justice system was broken, rotten from the inside. But I had a voice now. I would never stop fighting. With my skills in the Eye of Horus, I knew nothing could stop me. Or at least, that's what I'd hope.
feeling. I knew it.
Who?
His radiant soul is finally ripe for the reaping. Even this small speck of time has felt like an eternity. I can't wait any longer. I can't wait to see that wretched light drain from his eyes.
Oh. Oh, hello.
William, please, I implore you. I know you're excited, but don't you think we are moving far too quickly?
Lloyd von Sanctus, a duke, the head of the House von Sanctus and the Duke of Commerce. His noble house is one of the 4 pillar families. His family is responsible for managing trade and commerce throughout Wyverngard.
Nonsense. Everything has been going according to plan.
William Frege, Duke, the head of House Frege and the Duke of Finance. His noble house is one of the 4 pillar families and responsible for tax collection and the exchange of resources. House Frege owns and controls every banking house in Wyverngard. Lord von Sanctus shifted nervously, his rat-like posture practically shuddering. William Frege, on the other hand, only seemed bothered by Lloyd's insistent chittering. They both held the status of Duke, but only William wore it rather than the other way around.
I have advocated for the Arcurians more than anyone else, but I haven't had enough time to look into them.
The Arcurians are inefficient yet simple folk. The only thing they care about is filling their coffers, and I'm quite proficient in that language.
And what of the Grand General?
Who do you think pays for all of his soldiers?
You may be able to get around to the ground forces, but his extended family is something else entirely. If you threaten them like this, they will respond in kind.
Loyalty can be bought, the same as any other commodity. Every house has a weak link. It's only a matter of time before I find his.
William.
Enough! This meeting is an opportunity for us to finally pull the Minister of Justice to our side. I will not squander it. We will take Wyverngard from Lucio today.
Oh boy.
Roll spine while you're at it. You're a duke for crying out loud.
Lloyd just exhaled deeply as he followed William to the meeting room. Oh.
Oh, they've arrived.
Coraline Sybil, a duchess, the head of House Sybil and the Minister of Justice. Her noble house is one of the 4 pillar families and is the most powerful of them. Her family has managed the judicial and legislative branches of Wyverngard's government for generations.
See, you had nothing to worry about, Your Grace.
It seemed that the Minister of Justice and the High Speaker had already arrived. Coraline Sybil and Theon Arceus were the most powerful people in this room, in theory. They represented the justice system and the church respectively, but both their heads were always in the clouds. Their dispositions made them more akin to cattle that could be distracted and coaxed with shiny trinkets. Coraline was always ruminating about fate and the cosmos. She'd often confuse astrology with physiology. With philosophy. Theon was blinded by his obsession with the sacred lord and his stories. William was almost certain that his noble house had written half those stories.
I was worried that something had befallen your convoy. I've been praying to the scale law for your safety.
Theon Arceus, a high speaker, the devout leader of the Church of Bahamut. I don't think I've met anyone who reveres the scale lord as much as he does.
You two are late.
Remus Vergilii, royal advisor, a mysterious lord who appears to be close to the royal family. Apparently he's the royal advisor to the King of Wyverngard. I wonder why I've never heard of him before.
From the looks of it, we're not the only ones. Could the Grand General not be asked to show up? It's because of his foolishness that we've gathered.
That's not entirely true.
Really? And what of his recent bloodbath in the countryside? Word on the grapevine says that his men toss a clergyman from the top of a bell tower. That man is so bloodthirsty. We should check his pantry for the children he slaughtered.
William!
We have assembled here to discuss the lack of unity between the 4 pillars. Unity? Spare me. House Frege, House von Sanctus, and House Sybil are closer than they've ever been. The Steelwinds are the odd one out. Unity requires trust, and he has done nothing but spill the blood of the people we've trusted him to protect.
His recent actions have been excessive. No one here is disputing that.
My dear Duchess, his excess has merchants refusing to move caravans to the countryside. The commoners are crying for justice and turning to insurrection, something that the Grand General is supposed to be putting a stop to. The other nations whisper about us like we're a barbarian state dressed in fancy robes. Trade has slowed. The Scaled Lord teaches that prosperity is a covenant between every man and Wyvernguard. House Steelwind carries the burden of protecting Wyvernguard's borders. As mishandled as these situations have been, he's not massacring these villages for his own amusement. He could have fooled me. A leader wins respect and loyalty. He doesn't hold his people hostage. Mark my words, if this bloodshed continues, the commoners will revolt. These recent insurrections are just a start, and this will only continue if we allow Lucio's daughter to take the throne.
If we're discussing Lady Steelwind's marriage to the Crown Prince, surely he should be a part of this meeting as well.
Please, what can that bright-eyed boy contribute to this conversation? The only thing he's good for is holding fundraisers and cutting red ribbons.
William, he's the heir to the throne.
Come now, the true rulers of Wyvernguard are all assembled in this room.
I'll admit, the House of Lords has received more petitions against Lucio than any other general in Wyvernguard's history.
The church has also been unable to collect as many tithes as before. Even the most faithful are asking whether the Scaled Lord will support such cruelty. Their faith is faltering. This cannot be allowed to continue.
Whoa, what the?
Oh, look who finally decided to show up.
Oh boy.
I know I'm late. I was caught in a debrief. I find this gathering to be pointless anyway.
How dare you, Grand General! Have you no sense of respect?
Well, this guy looks like a bloodthirsty killer.
What use will respect be to ones who cannot command it? Will you demand my respect, Master of Abjuration?
Well,
Leave him alone, Lucio. We were just discussing your recent catastrophe in the countryside. From what I've heard, the death toll has been astronomical. Did you beat your record? If you have something to say, then say it plainly, Freyja. House Freyja would like to move to have the Steelwind stripped of their authority and the control of Wyvernguard's military. Lloyd, Caroline, and the Church agree with me on this matter. Is that so?
I mean, we of House Von Sanctus stand with House Freyja on this matter.
I'm sorry, Lucio, but it's difficult to argue against what the reports have been saying. I'll bring this matter to the House of Lords. We'll hold a vote.
Then the House of Lords should know about what my agents have discovered. The Eastern Kingdoms have joined the Union. What?
Surely, this can't be true.
It is. I'm sure the Order Astralis will be announcing it publicly within the week.
Wyvernguard is now the only nation in the world that hasn't joined their alliance.
Correct. The only thing acting as a deterrent to our enemies is the high evocation magic of House Steelwind. Do you think the House of Lords will be willing to oust the most powerful war mages from our ranks? Lucio! Now if you've done gnashing your teeth, William, I have to meet with the rest of my house. We'll need to prepare in case the Luminites become bold enough to bring war to the western border. Lucio, wait! Damn it all! Since when were those Orientals so friendly with the Order Astralis? I can't believe the Luminites should suffer the company of those mud-eating savages!
Actually, the culture is very rich. I, for one, quite enjoy many of the...
Shut up, Lloyd! We'll need to expedite our plans.
What?
Get the Arcanians on the line. I will have words with them.
You have business with Arceus? With Arceus?
We're brokering a trade deal. I'm sure the House of Lords will be seeing it soon.
It seems the Cosmos is in our favor, then. The only ally we have left.
Stay safe, Caroline.
You too, Lloyd.
Please tell me these stories aren't true. Lucio! You already know the answer, Your Grace. How could you?
Definitely seems like things are going crazy here.
I thought you never got involved in matters of the state. People are dying, Lucio. Children are dying under your watch. Do you truly think me capable of such atrocities, Your Grace? If you do, then strike me down now. You have the power to do so. You know I won't do that, Lucio. And stay out of my way. What has become of all of you?
Hey. Pierce, you have a visitor. Steelwind's brass again? I'm in no mood for another sanctimonious lecture.
Gary.
Jolene! Oh, hey, this is gonna be awkward for you. Time has not been kind to you.
Excuse you, I'll have you know that I get mistaken for 20 everywhere I go.
I suppose some things never change. Let's get on with it then.
What?
Go on. Yell at me. Curse at me. I doubt anyone would lift a finger if you opened the cell and beat me half to death. So? Do it!
I forgive you.
What? I'm surprised.
I forgive you for killing my husband, Garrick.
Have you lost your mind? Do you think I feel any remorse? Do you think I'd steal that weak child?
I just don't have the energy for it. I saw what that resentment did to my husband. It festered inside of him like an infection. I'm the only family Celeste has left.
If only you knew where she really came from.
I don't need to. She's reckless, stubborn, and a little spoiled too. She takes after me in a lot of ways, and she takes a little too much after her father. She's a good person. She's the kindest person I've ever known, and I'm proud to call her my daughter.
Then you're a fool.
Gary Flintheart didn't blame me for what happened to Effie.
That's a lie. All he ever did was blame me.
You didn't blame me until you shot yourself in the manor. We were in all so much pain after what happened, and you abandoned us.
And you expect me to apologize for that?
Effie always loved that spell.
What?
Do you remember how she danced in the lake while you shaped the water around her feet? She thought that spell was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen.
That person died a long time ago.
Effie? Or you?
You're weed.
Excuse me?
That's all you are, Jolene! A wilting weed on the road, waiting to be trampled over by this cold, wretched world. Do you think yourself virtuous for spewing such empty platitudes? Admit it! You hate me! You despise me! If you could stomach it, you'd climb into the cell and plunge a blade into my chest, just like I did to your husband.
No, right now I only feel sorry for you. I never thought you were weak. You're the kindest person I knew. I miss that man, but you're right. He's gone now. Good luck with your trial, Garrick.
I don't need luck. With my connections, I'll be out of this cell by week's end. I'll show you. I'll show all of you. Your daughter will be of use to me yet.
The cold-hearted aristocrat completed. What a great first case. I really liked it. But I assume this is immediately starting in the next one, right? If I save the game, it's probably going to say, yep, episode 2. We're going to go ahead and end it here for today. So, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you all later. Peace.